just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. It was so good to have the footy back on the weekend. I've got the great Kangaroo, also known as Gurino, sometimes referred to as Rugby League Guru, but mainly Gurino and Kangaroo. How was your weekend, mate?
Good, mate. Kangaroo is becoming more and more popular every week, which is killing me just quietly. No, mate, good weekend. Good to have footy back. Bit of a mixed bag, the trials, but...
Hey, at least we got something to look at.
At least we got something. Yeah,
something to look
exactly
at.
Right.
If I've got to live with the nickname Beak, you got to live with Kangaroo.
No,
until Beak goes away, Kangaroo is staying. As always, brought to you by the beautiful Bloke in a Bar beer. Crisp, easy drinking. I had a couple on the weekend, Kangaroo, and it was absolutely heaven. Sitting back, watching the footy, finally back. Beautiful warm weather. These are the stores in Spotlight. We've got Warwick Farm Cellars, the good old Warwick Farms. Warwick Farm Cellars, Bottle Mart. Troy's Liquor, The Oaks. Lakeside Plaza Celebrations, The Entrance. Charlie's Liquor, all stores. Charlie's Liquor, all of their stores. Porter's Alexandria. Celebrations Plumpton. Legends Forest Hill Wagga. Shearer's Arms Tavern Gold Coast. Stafford Tavern Brisbane. Aussie World Superstore in Sunny Coast. That's Aussie World Superstore, Sunny Coast. Dicey's Liquor Warehouse in Gladstone. Westbrook Tavern in the Great Toowoomba. If your local doesn't stock it, or they have stocked it in the past, you can walk in, ask them politely, order some via ALM, and they will be able to get some beer in. Make sure to support the platform, guys. Plus, it's a beautiful beer. So if you normally drink beer and you love footy, why not just grab a case of Bloke in a Bar instead of your normal beer that you drink and enjoy the content? But the weekend has gone and done. Like, who impressed you the most? I know it's just the trials. So let's put a disclaimer at the start of this. We understand that it was just trials, guys. We understand it. But we have to work with the information that we got. And so everything we say going forward is understanding that it was just trials. But who impressed you? What squad impressed you the most?
As far as squads, I'll start with one guy I want to give a shout out first to, Billy Walters. What he's done, we've just heard in the last probably 40 minutes or so of recording, it looks like he has got the 6 jersey. And, mate, we sat here, 5 weeks ago and said, is it because he's his son? Is there going to be a bit of backlash? Personally, I don't think there's any argument that he hasn't been the most impressive ball player over the last few weeks.
For sure. And I was of that ilk of look, he's the coach's son. It is not worth the backlash you'll receive by putting him in. But I think if anyone has watched the trials, both trials, you're a very tough man to impress or woman if you don't feel Billy Walters has been the best 6 for the Broncos. Now, you could say Ezra Mam has had the highlight kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, no one's as excited about Mam as me. I'm so excited. I think the long-term 6, all of that great stuff. But it is way, way too early to be putting him in first grade, round 1, with Adam Reynolds. Let this kid, he's 18 years old, pretty sure. Let this kid, ply his trade in Queensland Cup. There's no need to rush him when you have a guy like Billy Walters, who I feel has truly, truly earned his spot. Put it this way, let's say they all played solidly and he was just a little bit better. I would even argue, got to be loyal, stay loyal to either Kelly or Gamble. But I just think he's been far and away their best half over the last 2 weeks, that you would be crazy not to put him in that 6th role.
It'd be wild if he doesn't get it for me. I will be shocked. Be interested to see who gets the 14 jersey now.
Yeah,
I
think Corey Pakes has played himself into it.
So do I. I didn't see a world where I wouldn't have Gamble or Kelly. I didn't expect Gamble or Kelly to be in the side somewhere. I don't know if I can get him in there now.
Yep.
I really don't.
I can't, because Corey Pakes used to be a 7. So you know that he can cover the half role if he has to. He could even fill in as a lock if he had to. I know he's quite small, but he is explosive. Now, some people are calling for Corey to be straight into number 9. I still believe we made this same mistake with Andrew McCulloch, where, Andrew McCulloch wasn't offering that much in attack. And so we were like, we can just have Turpin, who had a great first season. But there is something to be said for, yes, Turpin doesn't necessarily explode out of dummy half, but you need a solid hooker that's going to get through a shit ton of tackles, lay the platform, and then you can bring on Corey. Whereas I just don't think Corey is a platform layer. I think he can come on and be explosive.
Especially now that you have got Adam Reynolds and you've got a genuine 5'8" in that side now. It'd be good to have a really good running 9. But I think they'll be okay with Turpin.
Yep,
and
sure.
bringing Pakes on in little bits and pieces. For me, it's his running game that is the best part of his game.
Yep.
If you can bring him on for 15-minute stints against a tired pack, could be anything for Brisbane.
Absolutely. It could be a great combo because although you may not get that explosiveness from Turpin, you get the hard stuff out of the way. All the big forwards running, all the big boppers, all the just setting up positions on the field, and then Corey has the best of both worlds. Like I understand Corey would love to start, love to play 80 minutes, and so would Turpin. But maybe it is best for the team that Turpin becomes a 60-minute hooker, or even a 50-minute hooker, and Corey comes on and has explosive runs out of dummy half.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, not at all, not at all. And one of them could play themselves into that 80-minute role. Like you've got two options. I just can't see a world where. I personally, I agree with you. I would have struggled to see Gamble not in the 17. I just think he struggled a little bit, especially against the Titans. He just looked a bit... had good moments, and in defence he had some good solid defence, but if he was the guy that was supposed to steer the ship, and I know we came back in the end, but he just didn't look like... It didn't look like he was an NRL player playing against a Q-Cup side.
Gamble's biggest strength can be his weakness sometimes, and on the weekend it was that he tries too hard sometimes.
For sure.
I love that about Gamble, and fuck, if I'm playing him in Queensland Cup in round 1, I think you're going to be in for something special.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Quietly. I wouldn't want to be marking up against him.
Thoughts on Kelly?
Yeah, I've always been a little bit higher on Kelly, but I think it's hard to argue with that he played himself out of that side on the weekend, I thought. And they weren't huge mistakes, huge errors, but just little things that, we were talking about during the game. They build up.
Absolutely.
It's a kick that goes a metre too long, that's 20-metre tap, then it's a penalty on the 40-metre. All of a sudden the Titans are attacking 20 metres out when they should have been kicking from their own 30-metre line.
Yep.
And it all comes down to that kick being a metre too long, and that's what the NRL's about, realistically.
Yep, absolutely. And in games like that, if you are a fringe player that is a first grader, you've really got to be stamping your authority on that game. You've really got to be like, oh, wow, like Albert Kelly is a step above. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's great for the Broncos that they've got two players that can play good quality NRL. But I just felt like when I watched Billy Walters play in both matches, I felt you watched him and you go, he's a step above. He's a little bit above the Q-Cup standard. And there were other players like that too. Like, for example, Ezra Mann was a little bit above. The only difference is he's quite young. I thought for the Titans, though, Fafita on the centre, I thought Fafita in centre was great.
Yeah, very impressive. Obviously had to mark Katoni Staggs, which was a bit of a nightmare.
Nightmare fuel.
Staggs, I think Staggs beat him one-on-one there, but I'll back Staggs in to beat some of the best defensive centres in our game.
Yeah, honestly, that close to the line, I doubt many centres would stop Staggs. Outside of maybe a Manu or an Olam, maybe.
And this was my biggest problem with the Broncos last year when I was watching them, that they had these two Ferraris out on the right edge, Staggs, and they just weren't getting the ball to them, clean ball. I thought they got more clean ball the other night in the first 20 minutes when Walters was directing than they have in the last few years. So, I thought another impressive team. Granted, they put out close to a full-strength side was Manly. In saying that, I thought the Tigers were probably one of the more disappointing ones, but I thought Manly was great. Turbo has returned where he left. I think it took him 2 minutes to get his first TA. Yeah. One of 1,000 this year.
Yeah.
When they conceded that try right on halftime, like 39th minute, very worrying signs for the Tigers.
Worrying signs is that in that second half, it was essentially reserve grade Manly versus basically reserve grade Tigers, and it was a shellacking.
Yeah.
So even if you were to say, yes, it's just a trial, and it is just a trial, the concern is that the Tigers' depth isn't the best right now. Now, it's just one game, it's just one half of footy, but from what we did see, the amount of points Manly laid on with a team against a side that should be equal, like those two teams, they looked about the same experience.
And mate,
in the second half, that is.
Yeah, and I mean, mate, at the 38th minute, it was 8-4 to Manly. That actually, Manly was the better side. Don't get me wrong, but to the Tigers' credit, they'd hung in, and then to concede a try in the 39th minute when you got one more set to go, it's very Tigers. It's very, if I told you that had happened to a team, you'd probably guess the Tigers.
Tigers or Broncos, really.
Yeah, which I'm sure would have had Madge kicking chairs and not happy.
Yeah, the concern, we'll get into trials. Trials. Got ahead of ourselves there. So Ponga says in an interview, I'm locked in, I'm dedicated to winning a comp. Now, to be clear though, in that same interview, he kind of says, I'm just focused on footy. I'm not thinking about contracts. I'm not thinking about this. So it wasn't, even though that sentence looks like, he's 100% already signed a contract. But I do believe that for him to say, I'm dedicated to winning a comp here, this is great signs for the Knights and massive pat on the back if the Knights do keep him.
Yeah, I'll probably get accused of being a bit stubborn here, but what else did you expect him to say at the same time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm Ponga, I would say stuff like, instead of I'm dedicated to winning a comp here and the rhetoric was kind of like I'm here long term, I would be saying things like, I'm just focused on playing good footy. I love the club, blah, blah, blah. But the I'm dedicated to winning a comp here, that kind of implies I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, I'm just worried that right now he's saying that and all the clubs are on 0 wins. If the Knights are still on 0 wins and there's other teams with 8 wins, I'm a little bit worried about how that might change. But, mate, for Newcastle's sake, once again, I hope he does stay. I think it'd be unreal for them to keep KP. But, I'm probably not as convinced by this.
Really? Okay. Interesting. I mean, I'm locked in. Now, locked in could mean I'm focused on this season. But it also could mean they've come to terms or agreements. I think the fact that, his father is a part of the club now definitely helps his cause to staying. I'm not 100% sold that he is locked in, but it's good rhetoric.
Yeah.
If you want
it's good signs. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. It is good signs. But this decision for me isn't going to be made in the preseason. It's going to be made over the next 10 or 12 weeks.
There's so many Knights fans going, Guru, just give it to us. Just say he's staying,
and mate,
so I can feel better.
One of them that messages me tells me I'm a fucking idiot. I go, you should be standing up for your team. You should be telling me to get stuff. Good on you. I love that you're passionate. But I'm still very concerned.
Was it our last week? There was a comment on the YouTube. There was like, there they go again, bashing the Knights. It's like, bro, we're not bashing the Knights. It's like, we're just giving our thoughts on what's really happening. But
if we're wrong, send it to us. We're happy to wear it.
Absolutely. But yeah, so Ponga, I just think it's good rhetoric. And what I like about what he said from a Knights perspective is he understands the role. He understands what he needs to do. He understands why the only reason Ponga stays at the Knights right now, it is not because they're already playing good footy and he wants to be a part of a good organisation. It's not because he's just really enjoying his footy. He understands that the only thing that can keep him there, it's not money. It's not really right now the fortune of playing with another superstar or a Super 3 or whatever. It's truly about, I understand it's going to take a few years and it's about winning a comp here. If I can achieve that, it'll be worth maybe the money sacrifice if I am making a money sacrifice. So again, I agree with you that it doesn't mean that he signed the contract, and it's going to be a very different landscape if they don't win, if they struggle in the start of the year. But I do like that him saying that if I'm a Newcastle fan, that's what I love to hear. Yeah. I don't want to be like, I'd love to stay, but we're just nutting out the contract, and the implication is they're not offering enough money. It is truly about being the man that takes them to a premiership.
I will say this, if this season goes differently to what I'm anticipating, which it quite possibly could, it is. I'm then more confident he could stay there, but I'm just worried that the next 10 weeks is going to have more impact. Yeah. Mate, if they just have 1 or 2 injuries in the halves, what's going to happen there?
I feel sorry for, if he does leave, the amount of Knights fans are going to look back on this and blow up.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm sorry, it's happened before.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
It's not like it'd be an unusual thing. And KP, unfortunately, he would become public enemy number 1.
Oh, fuck.
But once again, if I'm KP, I've got to take care of KP. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. Look, the safe bet is to go to another club that is doing better. But if he truly believes, I think I can win a comp. And you got to remember too, he would have confidence in his ability to recruit other stars, because before he went to the Knights, they couldn't recruit anyone. And then they've got like, 4 or 5 Origin players now, and that's all of the back off.
And, mate, if you can recruit a good 7, it's a great side again.
Yeah.
They just need that direction. I heard that he mentioned how happy he is that Joey's there, which is always a good sign. Hypothetical, put you on the spot here. If they're, I don't know, 2-10 at round 12, and it's all sort of going to shit. Like, let's be honest here. If they're going poorly, they'll blame KP because he's the best player on the field.
For sure.
Like, this narrative could turn on KP very quickly. Joey, Newcastle legend. Does Joey say to KP, you have to stay, or does Joey care about KP?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to get to a point if they do go poorly, which they might not, but if they do, is KP just going to be public enemy regardless?
Yeah,
this is my
it's
worry.
A tough one. It's such a tough one, and you're right. Like, it will be. I mean, he already is public enemy number 1 to some people. Like, there's already Newcastle Knights that are like,
mate,
overrated.
There's nothing we hate in rugby league more than when a guy's losing and he's got a camera in his hand or he's on a skateboard. If he's winning and he's doing those things,
totally fine.
It's great.
Yeah.
Hunky dory, fantastic. But if they start to lose, and KP is, I mean, we saw him having a milkshake at the start of last year. Remember how that blew up?
When he was like, he said, like, I didn't mind that. Something like Brownie, when Brownie got moved on or whatever,
yeah,
he said, I just went down and got a milkshake, and that still comes up now. I mean, it was a.
But that's who KP is.
Yeah,
you know, and he is going to be the guy that if they lose 8 games in a row, he's still going to be walking down the road barefoot. He's going to be riding his skateboard. Yeah. He's going to be doing things outside of the game, like his podcast, like his promotional things, which he should be doing. But rugby league as an audience, we don't like those things when people aren't doing well.
A good example of this is like, even Corey Norman to an extent, and he wasn't even involved in a lot of that stuff, but it did magnify, like, it gave people a reason to dislike him. Like, even though his form at times wasn't the best, it does give people a reason to point at that and go, you're not focused on rugby league, rah, rah. And it's like they still got to live their lives.
And mate, journos know what sells. KP is going to sell over the next 6 months.
Oh, man. I mean, he already is, and he...
I think it's funny to point out that Ponga comment, that was actually in mid-2019. That was actually 3 years ago.
Wow, and people
the
still
milkshake
say
one?
Yeah.
Good God.
It was 20 or 21.
I still get milkshake emojis posts on KP.
Funny.
But
that's funny. You won't forget. Interesting times. I mean, the Knights, they are in the balance right now, their whole franchise, in my opinion. But, as I said, I'm going to look at a glass half full. I'm going to say that's great rhetoric. I'm going to say... pray to the footy gods that he does stay, because I do want Ponga to stay at the Knights because I think it's better for rugby league.
As do I. I've probably just had a few more sips out of my glass of water.
You're glass half empty, but you got to come glass half full.
Might be quarter full, just score.
So if you're a betting man, you still think he's Gonskis?
I think he is. But that's because I think they're not going to go well this year, and I think that decision will
So if they go well, let's say they go first 10 matches and they go 5 from 10, does he stay?
Yeah. I think he's a much better chance to then.
Yeah.
But, mate, the longer this goes, the longer the Dolphins are sitting on a heap of money because they haven't got a marquee guy.
Yeah.
If they're not going to sign KP, if they can't, like, now Melbourne have a heap of money to keep Munster and Grant too, who's going to be the guy?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just finished watching the Wayne Rooney documentary, the soccer player. And what was really interesting is that the only time that Manchester United really nearly lost him, and he said he was leaving Man United, was he walked into the office with Alex Ferguson, and they just gotten rid of Cristiano Ronaldo and another, really, I think it's Tevez or something like that. And Rooney walked into Ferguson and said, "Mate, who have you signed? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not going to stay." And Alex Ferguson said, "Get out of my office," which is not the right way to answer. I mean, Alex Ferguson, one of the greatest coaches of all time. But the reason why I bring that up is like it's a very similar situation that I think Ponga is in right now, is that I'm sure he's going to the upper echelon and saying, who are we signing? Like, what's the plan? Who's the recruitment? Like, we got rid of Mitchell Pearce. Who's the guy to replace him? And you look around and you go, who is the guy? Like, what 7 on the market right now is someone they could go after? What do you got there, mate?
It's off topic, just a bit of breaking news, and it's very, very sad. Haze Dunster will miss the entire season after rupturing his ACL, MCL, and PCL.
Far out.
Fuck.
Far out, man.
It's a tough game.
It was like this was his year to cement a spot.
Yeah.
And he was doing so well, like, at the end of last year. Far out, man. I know how, as a player, like especially on the fringe there, your whole life has come to this. Finally, I get a chance to cement a spot and prove myself, and then just get ripped from you. And then you're sitting there watching the games and you're happy for the boys, but at the same time, if another wing comes and kills it, you're sitting there like, there's been reports that the Eels have inquired whether Jermaine Asako is free. Far out, man. Poor bloke. He'll be back though. He'll be back. I always bring up the same example. Look at Tedesco. First couple of years of his career, blew his knee out, 2 times? Was it 3 or 2?
I think it was 3, mate. Yeah, it was.
And look where he is now. He will go down as one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, period. Already. I reckon if Tedesco was to retire tomorrow, you could still consider him as one of the greatest fullbacks of all time.
I would.
And so I always use that example of if you get injured, look at Teddy. He come back. He's more explosive than ever. One of the best ball runners we've ever seen. So, yeah. Head up. He'll be back. The great Dunster. So Ponga, all of those things we just said, I think that's good rhetoric. I think if I'm a Knights fan, I take a lot of hope from that. Now, just a quick question I wanted to ask you, really interesting. So obviously Mavrik Geyer, he was the talk of the town yesterday. The commentators loved him. Don't get me wrong, I love me some MG more than the next bloke. I actually messaged MG and was like, mate, I'm so happy for you. I see your son doing so well. But wow, those commentators, they were setting him up to get peppered online. There was a period there where the ball was on the other side of the field and they were like, literally said they need to get the ball to Mavrik Geyer on the other side of the field. It's like, bro, this poor bloke's going to get peppered online because you're speaking about him too much.
Yeah, I felt sorry for him. What about when they, straight after the game, they had the Fox League interview and they had him waiting on the microphone to talk? It's fuck.
Different era.
Good on him. Oh, mate, and at the same time, I think he's one of those charismatic sort of fellas that was able to handle himself well, thankfully.
For sure. Could have been a disaster, though.
Yeah, I think he was actually pointing to Dad in the bar on the other side of the stadium. So,
yeah,
some good chat there. But, a good try. Great first touch.
I wanted to ask you the question. It's really, really interesting. And look, this is a very specific situation because it could have been the fact that his father was a club legend. But Storm chased Geyer and were very interested. And I thought, does this show how far the Panthers have come that they are able to knock back, a player at the Panthers are able to knock back offers and stay at the Panthers rather than go to Storm?
Mate, I thought this exact thing when I heard that.
Yeah, okay.
I straight away thought, fuck, if this was 10 years ago, I think MG says to him, mate, don't worry about the legacy. You need to become the best footballer you can become. But Penrith, they're that side now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not saying that the Storm aren't, but Penrith are on par with them now,
in my opinion, this isn't a reflection of the Storm losing anything.
Yep.
It's a reflection of the Panthers gaining something. So it's not about, the Storm aren't who they used to be. Not at all. It's about the Panthers have just come so far that... Because I think... So Mark Geyer's brother played for the Storm.
Yeah. So there is...
So there is a connection there.
So Matt Geyer played there, yeah. Look, I would argue that if Mark Geyer was a legend of any other club other than Penrith Roosters and Melbourne, and there was a contract from Melbourne on the cards, he would say, go and be the best player you can be there.
Yeah.
I think it's just a sign of where Penrith are at. I think he's also well aware that Viliami Kikau is leaving next year. There will be a spot in that side, whether Mavericks ready for it or not. We'll see. It's still a year away. We spoke about him 3 weeks ago, talking about his stats in Jersey Flegg were incredibly impressive. A heap of offloads, heap of tackle breaks. It was a really good try yesterday. The defence obviously wasn't fantastic on it, but he has shown in Jersey Flegg that he is a high-end calibre sort of second rower. So I couldn't believe how big he was.
He's a big boy. I just also was impressed with the Panthers' depth, man. He is just like some of that. Like you got Tago playing, you got a guy like Geyer. Their 6 was quality. Was it Flallon?
Falls the 5'8". Yeah, he was handy. Sean O'Sullivan looked good yesterday. Tago was there. He was playing like. All the guys that played in the back line look good to me. So.
No, it's good signs for the Panthers. Good signs. Now, on to the Hughes. Now, his manager has come out and been quoted on this. So this isn't just, maybe the time of how long a contract he wants. But Jahrome Hughes has reportedly been come out and he's pursuing a 6-year deal with Melbourne, with the Dolphins apparently chasing him. Now, I want to give me your thoughts on, and he just re-signed last year. Give me your thoughts on this.
Well, I think this manager's Super Bowl just quietly. This is perfect situation for him. Hughes obviously becoming a champion 7 now game over the last few years, won a comp. He's done it all. Melbourne have a heap of guys leaving. There's a heap of money there. There's a new club coming in. They need a marquee player. If I was Jahrome Hughes' manager, this is just Disneyland for me. This is perfect, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more noise coming out of Hughes' camp. 6-year deal, it's a long time though.
Yep.
It is a long time, 6 years.
Just confirming that his manager is quoted in the article. So
okay, he is?
Yeah.
So what is his manager?
Yeah,
Jahrome is looking to secure his future, and we're hoping to revise his current deal. The Storm are in the box seat to keep Jahrome, given he's already contracted. He's happy with the Storm, but if we can't get a long-term deal, we'll look at the open market. The Dolphins are a genuine option, but Melbourne have the advantage.
See, look, I totally understand where his manager's coming from, but I don't like this. I don't like when clubs do it, and I don't like when managers do it. You know, the Storm just re-signed him. Apparently he's on 600 to 700K. It's not a small deal. He's not taking unders. And look, when you look at it in a vacuum, he is just doing what is best for his client. And Hughes is just doing what's best for himself. So I cannot knock that. But I just don't like it, man. Like, he just re-signed. And I understand the timing of it all because they haven't locked Munster up yet. And he's kind of not everything you just said, but also he's saying, I better put my hat in the ring whilst there's money there, because if I don't, Munster's going to get this massive deal. There's going to be no money left for Hughes. So I understand all the motives from Hughes' manager, but it's kind of the public side of it. Like, surely this can be handled privately with the Storm, and you can say the same things privately to them. You know what I mean?
This is another thing that you haven't tend to see in Melbourne for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just another thing that I think 10 years ago this wouldn't have happened.
Totally.
And obviously they are in a different situation where they don't have the big three now.
I feel a bit for the Storm here though. Like, I feel a bit like they gave Hughes a crack when no one would. He's on a big contract now. They've developed him into one of the best players in the NRL, and now they're kind of getting publicly positioned by a manager. I'm sure there's plenty of things the Storm have done that to players that I don't know about, but I don't know. I just feel sorry for the Storm. I think this thing is a bit unfair.
Yeah, for sure, but it's not
business.
Always a fair game.
Yeah, business is business.
And if I was Hughes' manager, I'd be doing everything I possibly could.
Even like the public side of things, doesn't sit right with me. And you know what? It doesn't sit right with me when clubs do this kind of shit, where there's all these leaked articles about wanting to move a player on, but then they go to the player and they say, no, we don't want to move you on, even though they're trying to move you on.
Don't forget as well, wasn't it just a couple of months ago where Hughes' manager said they're not going to stay with Storm? They're not going to take up the option?
Yeah, that's another thing. So he basically came out publicly and said, we're not taking an option.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, but
it's not good form. But
it's not good form. I don't like it. I don't like it when clubs do it, and I don't like it when players do it. I think, put it this way, if that was my manager, it's very different when you're younger. Like when I had a manager, like it felt like I worked for him. It didn't feel like he worked for me because they're much older than you, so they have this kind of automatic respect. But looking back on it now, if I was in that position, I would be saying to the manager, bro, like, totally respect what you're doing. Can we keep this in-house until we need to? Yeah?
Can I ask you, if the Dolphins are keen on signing him, would you, if you were the Dolphins, has Hughes stepped out of the worries that he's a Melbourne halfback? Is he going to be a successful half? I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but just putting it out there. Is he a guy that if you signed to be your 7 to start your franchise with, you'd be confident you're going to get the same football as you are in Melbourne?
I think you'd get high-quality football, but when a marquee signing is signed, it's about much more than rugby league. And with a guy like Hughes, has he stepped out as a marquee signing? If there's let's say Ponga's off the market, Reece Walsh is off the market. I'd even consider signing him before Reece Walsh. I would consider it because I just think that although Reece Walsh has played some great footy, we've seen Hughes win premierships and play well in premiership games and finals games. The interesting thing is that I think what you're asking me in a roundabout way is, would you pay $1 million for him?
Yeah, to some extent, which is probably
That's
the way
what the
that this
implication
guy's
is.
wheeling and dealing here, you probably are.
I don't think the Dolphins are going to pay $1 million for him. I think he's a good 750, 800K player. Now, I know there's some people who say, look, how could he not be worth $1 million? He's won premierships. He's one of the best sevens in the game. But I think that $1 million tag, like, fuck, you got to do it. Like, it's the whole package for $1 million.
I would say too, if I was the Dolphins, and this will probably be unpopular, if I signed Hughes, I wouldn't completely stop my hunt for a halfback either. I would consider playing him at 1.
Okay.
I still think the way that he plays would just be so suited to fullback. I think he'd still be a star there. But yeah, it's an interesting one, Hughes. I mean, we've seen other guys leave that system. Some have done well, some haven't. I think it'd be a bit of a gamble to start a franchise. And if you are the Dolphins and the manager's acting this way with Melbourne, is that a red flag to you as well, as the Dolphins?
Yeah, it's true. And also, if you're the Dolphins trying to keep it in-house, yeah, it's really interesting. Very, very...
and I also feel for Hughes because you know he's not this sort of guy.
Oh, 100%.
Like
Hughes is in between a rock and a hard place. Like, what does he do? Not try to get a big contract for himself? Of course he's going to. He's 27 years old.
And he didn't have the first 6 years of big contracts.
Yeah, like
he came late. So Hughes has got to do the best thing by Hughes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's not his job to handle negotiations. That's why managers are hired.
Yep.
And players essentially have to trust their managers that they're professionals, and this is what they do. Now, his manager is very ballsy. Very ballsy. But who knows? It could pay off. Who knows? Maybe this does force the Melbourne Storm to take pause and go to Munster and knock off 100 or 200K off his contract and give it to Hughes. You know, maybe that's the play that his manager's making. And it might be a good play. It's just the optics of it all. I don't know.
Is there a world where you can see more than one of Hughes, Munster or Grant leaving?
I can see Munster leaving.
Yeah, I can see Munster leaving. But if Munster leaves, are you confident then they lock up Hughes and Grant?
I can also see Grant leaving. Because I just think Grant and Munster, it's going to sound weird, but they're like Queenslanders. Like, they want to live in Queensland. Like, I don't know, but Grant's like a surfy kind of dude. He loves that lifestyle. And so I just think that if you're a guy like Harry Grant that literally could get signed by any club, like Harry Grant's the one player where you'd start moving people on to get him at your club. Any club. Like, I would even argue like the Roosters. And I know they just signed Cheese.
I've said it before, I would rather have Grant than Cheese as my hooker.
As a hooker. But I'd rather have Cheese as a 13 than Grant as a 13.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm not fully sold on that because I do believe Brandon played better last year than Grant did at 9. But I do see your point of like when you look at the longevity of like a specialised hooker that can lay a platform but also have great ball running. Like, I totally see where you're coming from.
If you were the Dolphins and you could get Munster for $1 million, Grant for $1 million, or Hughes for $750,
I'd go Munster. Yeah, for sure. Like, he's a marquee signing. He's won 3 or 4 premierships now.
Yeah.
He's led Queensland to glory. Like, you can't get any bigger than what Munster has done. His debut for Queensland was incredible. I would be going Munster for $1 million. And also, he has that off-field persona that people do love.
Yeah.
Hughes for me, 750, 800K. If I'm the Doggies, he's 900K. If I'm the Tigers, he's about 900K. But it's really interesting. I wonder. Maybe we have. I just don't feel like we've ever seen this at the Storm. I really don't.
I would be worried about Hughes if he didn't go to a team with a top 5 or 6 coach.
Yeah, okay.
To be honest with you, not worried like it's going to be a train wreck, but I just think there would be a bit of a regression if he wasn't with a Robinson, and that's really nothing against Hughes. That's the vast majority of players.
Well, we just don't have the information.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know, and also because the game has been cancelled internationally, we haven't been able to see him internationally either. I think that would be a really good indication as to what he can do outside of the Storm system. I think he would go really well.
I mean, in saying that, mate, I was watching the All-Stars game the other night thinking, fuck, if this team had Hughes.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. It's interesting. Hughes is such a... He's in his own lane.
Yeah. Well, I was saying the other day on my podcast, Who has there been before that's like Hughes?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
No one.
we've seen Lockie go from 1 to full back. We've seen a few guys do that. But 1 to 7 and become a premiership winning 7. You know how hard it is to be a 7 in the NRL, let alone be a premiership winning 7?
Yeah.
And Hughes did it in 18 months.
Crazy. Being in like...
He was chucked in 2 weeks before the finals in, I think, 2019.
Yeah.
And they said, you're a candy fullback who 4 clubs have passed on.
Yeah.
Be our 7.
He's incredible. And he's like last year's form, he's top 5 in the game, in my opinion. And his stats were kind of close to Nathan Cleary.
Well, David Middleton named his top 5 players of last year a few weeks ago, and Hughes was in it.
Yeah.
Hughes was the only guy that was in it who didn't make the team of the year because Cleary was the 7, but he still made the top 5, which is a very impressive knock.
Absolutely. Hughes is, he's a gun, man. And the... Imagine having to defend against a player like Hughes. How do you defend that? He's strong, he's powerful, he's fast, he can ball play now, his short kicking game is phenomenal. He's a weapon. He's an absolute weapon. So, yeah, he's in an interesting spot. I wonder, they say the Dolphins are chasing him, but I can only see the Dolphins looking at around the 700 to 800 mark, which is probably what he's already on at the Storm, I'd assume. But fair play to him. If he can get that 6-year deal, fucking oath, good on him.
And in saying that, I would say the Dolphins are chasing a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't say to be a short list. It's hard to build a squad. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting times. I mean, if he gets the deal, his manager should get a bigger cut because he's done his work.
100%.
Wow, he's gone out on a limb.
He's nailing his role.
Yeah, his role to... Yeah, very interesting.
He's arguably doing his job better than what Hughes might be doing at Melbourne, which is crazy to think about.
It's also like...
We just spoke about him for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
He said about 6 words.
And it's almost like a dog whistle to other clubs of, you're interested, come have a look, come speak to me. He doesn't come available to the end of this year, I think. No, but as in he can sign November 1st this year, correct? Because he already... What's crazy... is he has already 3 months ago said, I don't want that option in the end. Fuck the balls.
Like that option is 2024.
Yes. And they executed their right not to take it already.
Mate, to be honest, the manager's probably filthy that there's been so much other stuff going on in Melbourne over the last few months. Yeah. It probably hasn't got as much airtime as what it should have because everyone else has been leaving.
Like their premiership winning half, 2 years before his option, said, I'm not taking it. Even though he signed it like, what it would have been like 6 months before that.
Yep.
It's fucking wild.
But then Bromwich leaves, Kaufusi leaves, Finucane leaves, Hines leaves, and it's just the narrative is it's just a sideshow at the moment, but it'll get real soon.
Yeah, it'll get real. Interesting. I mean, the Storm, they will get through this, absolutely. But I tell you what, one of the toughest challenges they face. They just got so much going on that we've never experienced before. But Bellamy's the GOAT, If not the GOAT, he's one of the... Bellamy is the greatest player developer of all time.
Yeah, I don't think there's any argument there.
And so if anyone can get through this period of having to develop players, it's the greatest player developer of all time. And also the system around them.
You think about how hard it is to find a good halfback in rugby league.
He made one.
He's turned... But who was the halfback before him?
Yeah.
Cooper Cronk arrived as a winger.
Crazy. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. They'll definitely get through it. And I think it'll just be, another example of this incredible organisation.
Mate, they also, you look at the guy before that was Matt Orford. They developed him to a point where he could go to Manly.
Yeah.
And win a Dally M and win a premiership there only 2 years after leaving.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. So I'm really interested to see what the Storm do because, if you want an example of what to do when you become so great that then the new generation of athletes come through with a new type of manager, I can't wait to see how they get there. Because one thing I'm sure of, well, not sure of, but as sure as I can be, is they will pull through this. I don't know how they'll do it. Any other club, this would bring them to their knees, I reckon. All this shit that has happened, all the players they're losing, Storm will pull through it. Now, Mal Meninga has said the Australian captaincy is between Cleary, Teddy, Murray and DCE. Really interesting that he mentioned DCE because you would assume Cleary has his spot for the next year. What are your thoughts on this?
For me, Tedesco's the standout. I agree with you. I don't have DCE in my Aussie team. I remember watching after that because the last game Australia played was the loss to Tonga. And I remember I put on my Instagram after that, is this potentially the last game DCE will play? Because I thought Cleary was about to really kick on. Took Cleary another 18 months or so, and as luck would have it with COVID, DCE hasn't got to play another game for the Kangaroos, but that's only because of COVID. I can't see a world where I get DCE. Like, he couldn't even play.
Do you think he's saying that more out of respect?
Oh, I think so, because it is still his job. He hasn't officially lost it.
Yeah.
It's not like DCE has gone to shit over the last 2 years.
No, not at all.
I mean, he won an Origin series a year ago, 18 months ago, whatever it was, that he couldn't win, essentially.
And like, Tommy was great, but they needed DCE to lead them to that crazy run they went on.
And, I would pick Cleary as my 7, but if you pick DCE, not a heap changes. I still think the team would be fine.
I'd probably disagree. Like, I think you need Cleary at 7. He's so undeniable for me.
Oh, yeah, no, he's undeniable, but I think that if you put DC, like the Kangaroo side's going to be pretty damn handy as it is. I still think that they'd be okay with DC. I'm picking Cleary every day of the week, don't get me wrong. But, I think it's out of respect that he's got DCE there. I think Murray and Cleary, they would be my red-hot favourites to be the captains after Tedesco.
Yeah.
After just watching what Teddy did last year, what he's done in the Origin arena, at worst, you're going to get an 8 out of 10 out of Teddy.
Yeah, I would basically be putting Teddy as captain and openly saying the plan is for you to hand this off in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Teddy could play for another 6 years and kill it. But just putting that in his head and saying, like, you're the captain. I want you to mould these young fellas so that when you do pass the torch, Murray and Cleary are ready to go. Because Murray and Cleary will be mainstays, I think, in that.
Well, they already are for me. Yeah. But I think James Tedesco deserves the job. I think he's done incredibly well at the Chooks. He's been great for New South Wales. I was a little bit surprised when he got named as New South Wales captain. I thought they'd go Jake Trbojevic originally when it first happened. But, mate, for me, Teddy hasn't put a foot wrong. He's been fantastic in every game he's played. He was Dally M captain of the year last year. Running around with, half a Roosters side, they finished 5th.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He just kept adding more and more to his game, taking on more and more responsibility.
Turned into a 5'8", really.
He really did turn into a 5'8", and he was, I would have never said before, you could shift Teddy to 5'8".
Yeah,
most fullbacks, I think you can. Teddy, I never did until last year.
I totally agree. Like, I was like, Teddy's one of the best ball running ones we've ever seen. Like, I wouldn't look at him as a ball playing fullback, even though he can catch and pass, but. It's not.
If you would have said to me 18 months ago, geez, I rate Teddy's catch and pass and his short kicking game, I would have said, you haven't watched him play. Yeah. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas now, I personally think if you're not having Teddy, I don't think you've been watching the game the last 2 years.
Now, Andrew Johns has said he will never be coach in the NRL. So Matty Johns has come out and he's pushed it quite hard that Joey should become a head coach because he believes that, how happy he looks when he's on the footy field and he's coaching. So, I mean, we don't know whether it's a G-up or it's legit. What I will say, though, is let's say Joey did want to coach and he clearly doesn't want to coach, but if he did, you at least got to give it a crack, because he is... Could you tell me a bit of footy brain?
No, but I personally think Matty's just taken the piss. I think Matty said it, walked away, giggled to himself, got on his phone and said, fuck, I just got you with a ripper. You're going to be in for it here.
Yeah.
Mate, I see Joey around the eastern suburbs. He's going for a surf. He's with his young bloke. When he drives up to Newcastle twice a week to help out with halves. Why on earth would he possibly want to go into coaching?
Yeah.
It'd be great if he did, but the stress that comes with it, I just don't think it's up. And mate, I don't know if the players would be able to handle Joey, to be honest with you. Could you imagine some of the stuff he would say and do?
Man, he would need to go to a already elite side because he's so elite that it would be hard to get guys that aren't as good as him to go on that level.
And especially when you first coach, that doesn't always translate being a great brain to... I mean, we look at when Freddie took over the Roosters. He really struggled there. He's now come out the other side for the Blues and done well, but I personally, I think coaching an NRL side is a million times harder than coaching a state side.
Oh, for sure. The week in, week out
Week
stuff.
in, week out
grind. Yeah, as I said,
It's-
if he was keen on it, I would be like 100% give it a crack. If there's anyone qualified to give coaching a crack. I don't mean step into a head coaching NRL role. I mean, start younger grades, build up, see how you go. But if he even has an inkling of not wanting to do it, bro, just enjoy your life. You don't need that shit.
Mate, he could, I said to you before, he could be a career assistant.
Yeah.
He would be the favourite bloke in every single room. I would be hesitant as a head coach to bring Joey in as an assistant. Because of his influence. Because he's the guy now.
Absolutely. That's what we spoke about in the Hello Sport podcast last week with the Dirty Merger podcast, was like, how do you, when Joey goes, this is what we need to do, how do you go, Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't reckon we should
How
go
many
do
sugars
that.
in your coffee? I'll grab it for you.
You kind of just got to go, you know what? That's what we do now.
Yeah, I could never bring him in as an assistant. No
Tough gig.
way.
And the crazy thing is like, even though Joey is one of the GOATs, I'm sure there are things that he says that are incorrect, like any human being. But you couldn't say no because you'd be like, well.
But the thing with Joey is no matter who your head coach is, he's got the best football brain. And then the boys will go out for a beer after and he'll win them over there as well.
So
and just you can't.
You're never going to win that
You're
battle.
never going to win it.
You almost got to put yourself as a bad cop and just, you're the bad cop. You're the bad cop. But if it was a G-up, it's one of the great G-ups of all time by Matty Johns.
One of the best.
He's just created this narrative out of nowhere. He seemed authentic when he was saying it to me on the show last week, Morning Glory with Matty Johns. Make sure to subscribe to that on Spotify and Apple. So we do the show live on SEN from 9 till 12, and then you can listen to it pretty much straight away after the show finishes on Apple and Spotify and all good podcasting apps. Don't think I'm on this week, but I'll be on the next week, rotating each second week. But yeah, great get if he has stitched up the whole media side of the NRL. And Joey's like calling Matty going, are you fucking serious, bro? What are you doing? And Matty like, play innocent. He'd be like, what are you talking about? I just think you'd be a good coach, bro. And Joey's getting peppered by phone calls of like, oh, you're going to be a head coach, are you?
Mate, it's a perfect narrative for Matty.
Oh,
I think
great.
It's
a great get.
I don't know Joey from a bar of soap, but as soon as I saw it, I was so confident that Andrew would be sitting there going, not a fucking hope in hell. Why would I do that to myself?
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't need to. You know, he'll always have a place in media because he's the GOAT. Yeah. Like, you don't, why would you? Now, Dylan Brown extends. He takes a player option that he had in his contract till 2023. I think there was a cool guy clause in there. So
surely there had to be.
You had to reach a level of coolness for that option to activate. And I think he reached that before he was even born because that's how cool he is. Like, that's how cool that
cat
guy.
Dylan Brown.
Mate, he's the coolest guy going around. What's funny is the Para Eels social media has picked up on it. Like, they wrote in, I think wrote in there like Mr. Cool Guy or something like that. He's a cool guy though. He's hard not to like because he's so cool. I thought that
I haven't even watched him play footy. I've just kept an eye on his Instagram.
Absolutely. I didn't even know he played NRL. I'd just follow him on Insta. He's the fucking coolest guy ever. What was interesting is the stat that, of 15 games and over, so the random NRL
stats guy.
Random stats guy on Instagram. Great follow. Great follow. Yep. Talk about pub ammo that you can just pepper your mates with and just be like, see this big dick of facts I got? Got them from fucking random facts guy. Random facts guy has extended the length of men's dicks all around the country. What a fucking service to the nation, random facts guy. Like, everyone's dicks get bigger. Like, when you're at a table and like you're just talking about footy and you can hit him with, do you know Dylan Brown has the only player to have over 90% tackle efficiency out of any outside back rated over 15 games? You hit someone with that, your dick grows.
I had him on my podcast last year, and some of the stuff he comes out with.
So cool.
I said to him, I go, fuck, that must have been a deep rabbit hole, and he just sort of went, you don't want to know.
Oh,
you
fuck,
do
how
not
good.
want to know.
We'll have to get the dick extender on here and hear about how he comes up with the stats. So we might try to organise that in the new season. But yeah, it was really interesting. So Dylan Brown, random stats guy, measured all outside backs that played 15 games or more, which I think is a fair number. Like, anything less than 15 games isn't really a whole season, in my opinion. I think I think 15 games is a good amount. Dylan Brown is the only outside back to have more than 90% tackle efficiency. That is such a good stat of a high-quality defender, I can't even begin to express it. And he's only like 20 years old, 21.
Are you surprised in the slightest, though?
Not at all.
Personally,
no way.
I'm not. We've been saying this for weeks.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, like, even with that stat, some people were commenting like, yeah, but it's, he's a shit attacker, this, that. And I'm like, bro, there's two sides to the game, attack and defense. If you have a gun attacker that's a terrible defender, you pepper him for being a terrible defender. Whereas, like, Dylan Brown isn't a bad attacker. He just doesn't have 10 million try assists. So I think this is a great re-signing. I think it's great for both parties because if Dylan Brown doesn't kick on and he turns into just a defensive six and they need something more attacking, it's only 2 years. If he does kick on, he gets the big contract that he wants.
The other thing is about that tackle efficiency is that also whenever someone else screws up in the defensive line, and Dylan Brown is the last guy at the end, he normally misses a tackle at the end because it's one-on-one and he's the last line. Whenever he makes it, we turn it into big highlights and everything. But you watch, every time Parramatta score down his edge, he is always the last guy, or he's the one keeping them from going under the sticks, essentially. It's such an impressive stat. If that doesn't impress you, I can't help you. I cannot.
You don't like the cool guy. You don't like the cool guy. You've got
Yeah.
issues with cool people if you don't like that stat. So the average worked out to be, for his season, 26 tackles a game and only 1 miss. As a half. Do you know how hard that is? He has when you talk about the hardest ball runners, it's wide running forwards because they got footwork and they're fucking huge. 1 miss a game? It's incredible. So I think this is perfect for both parties. If Dylan Brown doesn't turn out to be the player he is, then the Eels can, they're not locked into a 5-year deal. At the same time, if Dylan Brown does turn into player we think he's going to be, from a player's perspective, he'll get massive offers from other clubs. And to be totally honest, I think he would have already got massive offers from other clubs. I think there are plenty of other clubs that look at a guy like Dylan Brown and would throw 500-600K at him.
Mate, you could see the ability that he has when he first came onto the scene. He's maturing. You don't lose the skill set that he had.
Yeah, no. It's all just about getting him confident enough to use it.
And I would also argue the way that Parramatta play with how dominant Moses and Gutho is, it's a bit of an awkward spot to be Dylan Brown.
For sure. And when you look at how many assists Moses and Gutho have, there's only a certain amount of try assists per game. And if two people are having most of them, you're actually going to ruin the momentum of a side by trying to get those assists. Now, don't get me wrong, watching his game, there are absolutely times when he can run the ball more or whatever. But you're right, he is in a team with such a dominant 7 and 1. Very hard to pull tries from those two guys.
We did our top 10 moments a few months ago, and there was one from a Parramatta game, and I was watching it, and Gutho finished the game with 2 try assists. Gutho threw the pass on a 3-on-2, but it was Dylan Brown that manipulated the entire line and threw it out to Gutho. Now, on stats, you don't get a try assist from that. But if you watch and just eyeball test it, you can see how effective Dylan Brown is. He's very much, don't get upset out there, he's very much in the category of Adam Reynolds of how he just doesn't get stats of what he does well. And that's why Parramatta have re-signed him, and that's why he starts every single week. Brad Arthur is aware of it.
And it's why his position is not under pressure.
Yeah, and do you remember how good Dylan Brown was when he was going good and he was cool off the field? Now that his stats slow up a little bit, same fucking narrative.
Yeah.
Dyes his hair blonde, puts hats out there, does Instagram, and look how quickly people turn on him.
It's crazy.
Don't worry about that he's the best defensive half in the competition.
Yeah. That's another thing. If you were to say they're the best attacking 6 in the comp, you would be like, that's gun. Put him on $1 million, rah. But if you say you're the best defensive, not just half, outside back in the NRL, that same excitement isn't there. And yet, we all say, it's a cliche, what wins premierships? Defense. What do you got, Matt? Nothing? Now, Helam Lukey re-signs until the end of 2025. I think this is a great re-signing by the Cowboys and a much-needed win.
Yeah, much needed win, and good on him. I was nervous that he would leave, but well done to the Cowboys to keep him there. We're both very high on this kid. I think he's got huge potential. There's a couple of other back rowers that are very solid up there, but even if there are other guys that might be better than him, potentially, as people keep telling me, I know this kid's going to be a gun. So it's a great re-signing.
And I think also, he's big enough to play front row if he has to. Yeah. Bring him on for 20 minutes, get through a bunch of work, take him off. I think he's going to be a high quality player in the NRL.
His body shape as well, there's not many guys around like him.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a big win, for sure.
Josh Curran re-signs until the end of 2024. I think this is just huge congratulations to Curran for going to the Warriors and just being rewarded for having a red-hot crack week in, week out.
Yeah, mate, I've said a few times to you, I watched him in reserve grade a couple of years ago and didn't think he'd make it. Mate, if he's not in my top 5 favourite forwards, I'm not here now. Yeah. I love watching Josh
Every
Curran
game
play.
you notice him.
Yep,
every
single game.
Every game. And it might not be for the crazy plays. It's just for those battler plays, all the little intricacies that you need as a NRL forward. So, huge congratulations, Curran, and great re-signing for Warriors. I will say, and we'll get to it, the Warriors forward pack really impressed me. Now, I understand that Storm probably had a lesser experienced side, but when the Warriors forward pack got on a roll, they were almost impossible to stop. And it was reminding me of Warriors of yesteryear, where it was like, if those big boys are up, you're fucked.
And I would argue their best forward still has to go in, Tohu Harris.
Yeah, true. So true. So true. So, yeah, Warriors, look, they're doing all right. They're doing all right. Again, they're so hard to judge because the years where you think they should go good, they don't. And the years that you don't, they go good.
I will say this as well. Josh Curran, he's another Aussie guy who has never been to New Zealand before. For him to show the confidence to re-sign till the end of 2024, I think that's a really good sign for them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there'd be other guys that, and this was just my hunch, that if there was the potential of them getting worried about going back to New Zealand, if one of their leaders and one of their best players is going, I'm all in here.
Yeah.
I think it's a great sign for them. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, well done to Curran, well done to the Warriors as well. Good get.
Now, first trial was Raiders versus Roosters. I would probably say the Roosters had not even a real New South Wales Cup side. It was very inexperienced. Now, the big talking points out of this, again, that's not to take away from the Raiders or anything like that. Did you get the same feeling? The Roosters were quite inexperienced.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, you have a look at their spine. Drew Hutchinson was there. You had Lachie Lamb playing fullback, who personally,
not a fullback.
I don't think he's a one. I think he handled himself all right, but I don't think he's a one. You had Adam Kieran in the centres, who's a good player. Kevin Nguama played on the wing, but...
You know what? I could be wrong this, but I think it's Kevin that told me this, that it's Kevin Nangama.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, because I think he's Fijian, isn't he?
Yep.
I think you say it with an...
Nangama.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I had Kevin on my podcast years ago, he was like, no, it's actually Kevin Nangama. But again, if you're from Fiji, please let me know because we always want to try to get better at saying these names. Look, in saying that Kevin Nangama played NRL, Adam Kieran played NRL, Lachlan Lamb's played NRL, Drew Hutchinson. Look, pretty even actually when I look at it.
Yeah.
Pretty even when it comes to experience. I mean, that bench, though. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was the other
bench,
thing.
Yeah.
The Raiders bench, when they got to inject some guys like CHN and Horsburgh. They also, Adam Elliott's played a heap of first grade, Emre Gula, Chance.
So just a little bit. I wouldn't say a lot, but a little bit more experience in the Raiders
It doesn't
side.
surprise me the Raiders won this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the huge talking point out of the game was Savage versus the great... who ended up playing 6, Charles Klokstad. I'll get your thoughts before I give my thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch this one live. So once again, same as last week, I saw the response on Twitter and Instagram, and I messaged you and said, fuck, Savage must be having a game.
The next Jesus is coming. That's
Yeah, I was like, good God, CNK's in some trouble here. I heard he scored a great try. I had a look at highlights and once again, might be unpopular, but kicked it into legs. It rebounded and sat up for him again. Good try, but you said it to me the other day. I don't think we saw Savage do anything that CNK can't do. And I would argue that CNK did some bloody good things playing so far out of position. It's not even funny. Nate, you might be able to deal with this, but I think there was a quote from Savage saying, I've got big shoes to fill or something. Have you seen that one?
No.
Apparently he said after that, and the way he sort of worded it, people are sort of going... Hold on, what do you mean? Like the way that he sort of said it almost sounded like he thought he was ready to play fullback.
Yeah, okay. Which is what you probably want as a youngster. You want that young brashness. What do you?
The quote is, "It's been good learning from Chance. Big shoes to fill, and it's a bit competitive out there, but he's been like a brother to me."
I think that's a throwaway line.
Yeah?
No, I don't think he meant that intentionally. Because if you watch Ricky's. Did you watch that interview, Ricky Stewart?
I didn't. I only saw that quote.
Yeah. So Ricky was kind of like, look, he's super talented. So my thoughts on the situation is that I think it kind of proved what we said correct before the game was Savage is a super talent, super talent. But there is no need to rush him into that fullback position. He had some incredible ball running. His ball running is amazing. And that's where, if you wanted to make the argument that maybe it's a little bit better than CNK's. Like, I'll go there. I'll go there for sure. But he also had 3 or 4 errors. And as a fullback in the NRL, you can't really afford to have that. That's why I believe that you have to have him on the wing because you can still get that great ball running. You can still get him in there some sets and say, Chance, you go at 6, or Chance, go on the other side, and Savage will get you out the back, like Tommy does when he was playing centre for New South Wales. So although I was extremely impressed with Savage's performance, and he showed us that he is a star of the future, it also showed us that rough around the edges, give him some time. I definitely think he should start. If he doesn't start, I will be shocked, as in start on the wing. But I do believe that although he played a really good game in a trial match against pretty much New South Wales Cup, we've seen C&K do this against a Roosters grand final side, play this well against a Roosters grand final side. So I don't believe C&K will lose that fullback spot. I think Savage will be on the wing. I think he's a super talent. And I think it's great for the side that we have these two guns that could potentially play fullback.
Just doing a little team builder here. From what I've gathered, left centre will be Jared Croker. From what I've gathered, right centre will be Matt Tomoko. I think that's why he didn't feature in this game. You've then got Rapana and you got Kotrick.
See, I think Timoko won't be in the starting side. But you've still got to
From what I've gathered, he didn't play on the weekend because he's in
at
the moment. Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Whether that's right or not remains to be seen.
Yeah.
The other problem with the Raiders is that you got these two hookers, so it's a big day to run with Xavier Savage on the bench and a Tom Starling.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, your only other option is C&K kind of does suit a 14 on the bench. So that could hurt him.
Yeah.
Because then put him at 14 and then you put, as in Starling and him on the bench.
Yeah. You're giving away too much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Look, I think if you have to give somewhere, you give where the other rookie is, and Tomoko is that other rookie still. I think Tomoko is a great player, but I do believe Savage has played well enough to squeeze into that side. Now, Tomoko might come out and kill it in this trial, and then we might be having another discussion. But I do believe you've got to find a way to get him in that 17.
I just can't see a world where C&K isn't the fullback.
That he is the fullback?
That he isn't the fullback.
Yeah,
I think he just has to be there. I just think they're trying to outthink the room here a little bit.
For sure.
You know what works. You know it doesn't work when he's not there. It's a shit fight when he's not there. Just stick with what works for you.
Are you going to lose? Let's say you believe Savage is Jesus coming. He's the anointed one. Is he so much better than C&K that you would risk putting a rookie in too early? No way. Like I truly believe that, yes, long term, I can see Savage winning that spot from him. I'm not sitting here saying that Savage couldn't win a spot from C&K next year, later in the year, or whatever. But I do believe we've seen C&K play the Melbourne Storm, the Raiders, all the top-tier teams, not the Raiders, the Roosters, and played really well.
We've seen him play really well in a grand final.
Yeah.
We've seen Savage look good in highlights. We've seen him look good in a trial with a couple of errors mixed in there.
Which is,
I don't think there's...
What do you expect from a rookie?
It's what you expect, but I don't think there's been a game I've seen C&K have more than 3 errors in.
Yeah. Yeah. And also C&K did really well when he played Australia in centre for New Zealand. So I just believe that, don't get me wrong, I love hype as much as the next guy. Like, I did Xavier Savage's highlights 3 years ago, I think now. And I've been hyped on this boy for a long time. Like, he is something special. But there's time. We have time.
You got so much time on your side.
So much
it's not
time.
Funny. Yeah.
You're not gonna. It's put it this way. You could argue, well, Denon, that's the same argument for Reece Walsh. Like, the Broncos didn't want to rush him, so why would you put him in? The difference is the Broncos didn't have a fullback. Like, they didn't have a fullback. They had Jermaine Asako, who was trying to be a fullback, but had been trying for quite a while, and he hadn't cemented that spot. The difference here is C&K, when he's playing well, is a top 5 fullback. So, look, I believe that I haven't seen... I have to watch the trial this week, and I hope that it will be streamed on Fox Sports.
Yeah, they're all
fucking
streamed.
Fair play to Fox Sports. I've got to give them a rap. That is so good that they've done this, because I actually put a post up the other day, taking the piss out of Benji because of his sunnies, but also saying, like, imagine if we could have seen Benji Marshall's first. Imagine how many years later we would still be talking about it. Oi, bro, I got to see Benji Marshall's first trial in the NRL. And, Ezra Mam, I'm not saying he is Benji Marshall, but Ezra Mam, we could be witnessing that with him. Or the winger for Manly, Vega. We just don't know. We just don't know. So fair. I just got to give a rap to Foxley.
I remember when I was a teenager, I used to do a paper run on a Sunday morning, and I still remember getting there at 5 a.m. and opening, and that would be the first time you'd see the trial results the night before. I still remember always being late to that run because I'd read through every single one and just see what happened. Because 10 years ago, how on earth would you know what happened in Lismore on a Saturday 100%. Night between two? Like, you would just have no idea. And it'd be, a 200-word paragraph, and that is all you'd get out of it. You wouldn't see any footage. You wouldn't see anything. So what we've got now is unbelievable.
And it's leaning towards like the NFL where they play their preseason games. I absolutely love it. I think it's good for the players too, the rookies. It gives them a chance to show their wares to other clubs. So it creates a market of like, for example, I thought, where is it? When did he come on?
While you're looking, I will tell you one community that's stoked with what's happening is the Supercoach community. To be able to sit back and actually watch who's coming and going is, for people that care about that stuff, you never used to be able to do it.
It was funny, like some of the Supercoach people, I was in discussion, like just talking to them, and I was like, I don't think the Supercoach fans would like me being a part of the Supercoach. And they were like, what do you mean? I said, look, I make a lot of jokes. I mean, I haven't made jokes in ages, and they're clearly jokes. Like, I'm not actually having a crack. They're memes. But I just thought it was funny. I was like, I can't wait to tell Guru. I can't find him. Fuck. Anyway, the 7 that came on for Manly.
Not KO Weeks?
Yes. He was impressive.
Yeah.
And so, like, a guy like that, who's going to be behind DCE for at least 2 to 3 years, he gets to show his wares. And you tell me, there's a lot of clubs that could use a fucking quality 6 or 7 like him. Anyway, we'll get back to the Raiders game. Apologies, people.
Can I, before we move, just another shout out, Jared Croker. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, first game back.
Best game of football I've seen him play in 2 years.
Yeah, I was so happy for him, man. Yeah. Even like the article about the stem cell stuff, like, yeah, I was so happy for him. And he proved that, like, you can get so caught up in if they don't have one good year and they're a bit older, retire. And that experience that he brought to that side, you can't buy experience. I mean, you can, but
Yeah, there was a moment that he scored a try, and I remember watching it, and I saw it unfold, and it was like time froze, and I thought to myself, old Jared Croker would have scored this.
Yeah.
And he just backed himself, which I haven't seen him do in a long time.
Absolutely.
So it was really good to say. As we spoke about him in a reasonably, I guess, negative fashion, but we did say the whole time we want to see him be successful.
No, I think we spoke in a real fashion.
Yeah.
In a real fashion.
That's true.
His form last year wasn't great.
Yeah.
He's probably taken up a fair bit of the cap, and they've got a lot of young backs. So the reality is, if he doesn't start playing well, it's going to be very tough for him to stay. And the champion that he is, he would have heard, like, people don't, some people may not realise, like, the players hear it.
Yeah.
They hear it eventually. Like, you might say, stay off social media. Okay, I'll stay off social media, but guess what? My best mate that isn't a footy player is, see what this person is. You know what's funny? This is going to sound really weird, but growing up, whenever I'd break up with a chick, or they'd break up with me, I would tell all my mates, don't speak about them to me. I don't want to hear what they're doing. I don't want to know what they're doing. I don't want to know a single thing. I'd tell every single mate that, because, like, obviously it would fuck with you. And then I'd block the number as well. So I'd block and delete everything so that I had no way of, like, contacting them again. And so
those two girls must have been disappointed, mate.
2000.
Filthy.
2000. They're filthy. They're still blowing up about it. I'm sure I've got a million messages because they're blocked. If I unblock them, 1,000 will come in. Please, Beak, we miss ya. Come back. You're a piece of shit. I can hate your guts. Anyway, so if I'm trying to say anything, it's this: Jared Croker should have told everyone to fucking shut up. Stop telling them about the shit people saying online. I have met Croker a few times. Truly, I know I joke about being a country good bloke. He is truly a country good bloke.
He is Canberra.
He is Canberra to the T. Absolute legend of a bloke. So very happy to him. You know who else? Like, Canberra have a lot of good problems because Semi Valamai, apologies if I'm saying that incorrectly, he was big and fucking strong and good. That flick pass that he did and some of his runs. So,
he's played some first grade. He had a couple of errors in his first few games that I think rattled him a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So good to see him bounce back. Mate, the 5'8", Schneider.
Loved him.
He was great. And
he looked like an NRL player. You know what you reminded of? And I know people aren't going to like this. Matt Burton.
How could you say that? How could you say that? Comparing two players?
Yeah, I know. Not allowed to do it. They both have headgears and they're kind of tall and lanky to a degree.
But do you remember a few weeks ago we were talking about young guns and I said, I've heard good things about Schneider, but I haven't seen it, and I got avalanched by Raiders fans, and I see why.
Absolutely.
He can play. He is.
Absolutely. If I'm an NRL club, I'm absolutely sending some feelers out that way because, Whiten, if he does play the way he's going to play, we hope he's going to play, which is a Dally M player, you would think Schneider's not going to get a crack for a substantial amount of time unless he can play 7. But Fogarty is there.
Considering in that game too, he did it without a 7.
Yeah.
Did it with Charms jumping in there. It was very, very impressive knock. I thought...
Did he remind you of Burton at all? The way
a little bit. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. The internet's just hammered me. So
no, he's exactly like Burton. Yeah. He's going to win.
He might be better.
He might be better. Yeah. You know what he reminds me of? A prime Lockyer.
I'll tell you the other one that impressed me in the front row was Emre Gula.
He was good. Like, fuck, you know what's crazy? It's like they have this really poor year, and so it's very easy. And rightly so. We're like, fuck, man, the Raiders. But then you watch them in a trial, and you look at these guys, and you're going, this is a top 4 squad. This is absolutely a top 4 squad.
Why aren't you successful?
Yeah, what? Like if Adam Elliott,
even not successful, why aren't you just average?
Yeah.
Why were you below average last year? It just
Ryan
makes no
Sutton
sense.
was impressive. I did not think he was a 13. No way. I was like front row 100%. I thought Sutton was really, really good. And because I know we spoke privately, I was like, Adam Elliott's got to be 13. I'm a bit bullish on Sutton getting that starting 13 role.
I think the 13 role's been decided, unfortunately.
I
think it's Whitehead, from what I've gathered.
Really?
From what I've been told, yeah. I think from what I've been told, Whitehead's going to start in the 13. Elliott's going to be on the left, and Hudson Young on the right.
Wow. Sutton was really good.
Yeah, it was great, but I think this is why they rested Whitehead.
Okay.
That's what I've been told, whether it's true or not.
See, I think you've always got to start Whitehead, but I would put him on the edge.
The fact that they played Adam Elliott on the left edge and then they moved him into hooker, that worried me. I'm shocked Adam Elliott didn't get any time at 13.
Yep.
That has really blown me away, and it sort of echoes what I've been told, which is a worry. But I just wouldn't move Whitehead. I think he's the most consistent left back rower in rugby league.
I know, it's bizarre.
It's the one thing that worked for you last year.
It was pretty much their best player.
Yeah, it's the only position that I would say, yep, nailed that.
Yeah,
tick. Don't have to mess around with that.
Don't mess around with it. Absolutely. I thought Trevelyan.
Yeah, the hooker.
Trevelyan.
Yeah, he's handy.
No, the hooker was handy, and also. Where is he? Trey Mooney, I didn't mind. I thought he had some all right runs.
He came out of SG Ball a couple of years ago. I like the look of Trey Mooney.
So as we said, like the Raiders side, when you look at it, to think that this could be their reserve, this backline they've got currently could be their reserve grade backline. I thought Albert Hopewadi had some good runs.
Yep.
James Schiller, he was gone with the headgear on the edge there. He was gone. So look, I think great signs for the Raiders. Roosters trial form is always a bit, because I think Robinson has a very different mindset for trials. I remember, I think it was either last year or the year before, their reserve grade side got pumped by like fucking 60 or some shit. And people go on. And I remember at the start of the season, I said that my biggest concern is their depth. Like, if they're getting pumped by 60, can their depth come in and get the job done? Now, obviously, their depth could get the job done. We saw that. So I wouldn't take, Roosters fans, I wouldn't concern yourself at all with this.
Yeah, not at all. I thought a couple of guys played. I thought White,
Fafita.
He was very impressive. Saluka Fafita was good. The other one that I really liked, he scored the last try. They have huge raps on this Josh Wong. And I know that he's been pulled into the New South Wales pathway system. They're very high on him, one to keep an eye on. He's actually, I'm pretty confident he's actually in the SG Ball side.
Yeah, okay.
So they pulled him up for first grade trial. So keep an eye on him. He's one they're very high on. I think he's at Scott's at the moment. So one to just watch.
Our boy Volkman.
Yeah, he looked good, Volkman. Did a
he
couple of
good
good things. He's
I tell you what, man. Again, if I'm a club, I'm picking at that straight away. Volkman was impressive, really impressive. As soon as he came on, the whole game changed. They had energy through the middle there. They had energy on the edges. I'm really high on Volkman. I think that he suits this version of the NRL to a T. It's going to be interesting to see how they keep him.
He's got to leave. I can't see a world where he stays. He can't hang around till he's 24 to play.
The only world that I can see him staying is if Sam Walker doesn't kick on to be who we think he can, and his body struggles with the NRL for the next year or two. Not that that's going to. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's the only world I see.
I mean, if that was to happen, or if even more touch wood, if concussions hit Luke Keary more, I think that's his only possible way that he could get into this side. But it's a long. It's big for him to put the first 3 or 4 years of his career in that basket and hope.
Do you think the Roosters have such a good culture and, I guess, trust that he would do that to stay? Because he'd be rewarded. I feel like Robinson's so loyal that he would reward him.
I also think Robinson has a good enough culture and enough respect for the players to say to Volkman,
"You're not going to get
you
it.
should be playing first grade."
Yeah.
I mean, mate, does it matter
Can you get
where
his age up, please?
Does it matter where Volkman goes? If Robbo wants him in 4 years' time, he'll get
him back. It's kind of like the Connor Watson situation. Obviously,
very similar to the Connor Watson situation.
Yeah, he just couldn't get a crack. Goes away, comes back. But yeah, Volkman is special, man.
I'll tell you who would be really interesting with a Volkman if Robbo rang Fitzgibbon next year.
Yeah, said take him
and
on.
said, hey, why don't you take Volkman? See what you can do with him. You
And
play
put
Nico
Nico at
Hines
7.
at 7 or at 6. However, best way you want to. If Hines works at 7 this year, you could play Volkman at 6. If it doesn't,
I really think Hines can work at 7. I think he's so keen to learn that he'll learn what he needs to. If Hughes can do it, Hines can do it. In my opinion, what do you got?
19.
So let's say he waits 4 years. It'll be 23 pretty much.
A long time for a 19-year-old that's that talented.
The thing is, though, that I've spoken to Volkman.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, be patient. Don't get stressed out. You're not getting a debut yet. And he seemed sweet. Like, he didn't seem... As a young kid, he seemed really mature, to be honest. Like, really mature about it.
I think it'll just be interesting when all of his mates start.
Well, that's what I was trying to get across to him is like, listen, bro, like, you're a gun. Just be patient, bro. It's going to come, blah, blah, blah. And he did not... There was no sense of, I just want to crack here or there. It was truly like, no, I'm totally good. I'm happy. I'm learning. So it'd be interesting, really interesting. But he's such a good player. So off the cuff, but like strong. Every time, like he reminds me of a prime Milford. Every time he got the ball, something was happening.
He'd be a really good guy for the Roosters to do a loan deal with to someone.
What about 14? Could he fight his way onto the bench?
What
at
about
14?
Connor?
He gets the 9 spot.
Yeah, but next year once Brandon Smith arrives.
Yeah, well, but like let's say Connor wouldn't be on a big contract. You make that tough call. Well, no one wants Connor to be playing NRL more than me, but it's competitive by nature.
Yeah, I don't think I would have Watson at 14 over him. But yeah,
no, for sure.
Volkman,
like now, for sure. But what I'm saying is that Volkman continues this trajectory. Robinson might say, like, look, now you're really fighting for that 14 spot, and he gets that 14 role, and he. Interesting though.
Would you rather Volkman playing 14 for the Chooks, or would you rather loan him out somewhere and actually let him play 7 and 6?
Yeah, that's interesting too. You'd rather him like you put him on a loan deal and get him playing in NRL. Like, how good was it for Harry Grant to go and play NRL at the Tigers?
Like, just thinking off the top of my head, if I'm Robinson and I want to loan Volkman to the Sharks, I think Takiaho, Rhea Hargraves is coming to the back end of their career. There are so many front rowers down there at the Sharks. You were to do a little loan swap there for a year or two, give Volkman some experience. Maybe you get a Royce Hunt. Maybe you get
Talakai or something like
that. Imagine Talakai at the Chooks.
Ooh, scary.
He probably should be a top 10 forward in rugby league. He just can't quite put it together at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting spot they find themselves in because you're right. Like, he's basically nearly ready for an NRL. Maybe another year or two, or maybe another year, and he's probably ready for an NRL.
I mean, if Newcastle don't sort out their problems, you could...
Apparently Newcastle absolutely thought they had Brooks. Like, it was a done deal, apparently. But anyway, they clearly didn't. Tim Sheens must have done his job really well. Anyway, now on to Tigers versus Manly. Now, I'm just looking at this starting side. I mean, their starting sides are like, it's not like the Tigers started a reserve grade side. They started
Definitely wasn't a Reggie side.
Yeah, they're peachy. And they went with Manly for that first 30.
Yeah.
Until, obviously, the first 39.
Well, and that's the thing, that they're trying the 39th minute against a good side. It is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, this was that second half. Because the problem is that Manly brought on a bunch of reserve graders as well.
Yep.
That's the issue. Whereas, yeah, there are actually players on here that have played NRL that got brought on from the Manly side. From the Tigers side.
Yeah, there's a fair few, yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Mate, I thought the second rower, he scored their only try. Tuilagi, I thought he was pretty impressive.
He's gone to Manly though, isn't he?
Well, reportedly, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Might have got on the wrong bus at the end of the evening.
Holy shit.
Score the first try.
He looked good. He looked dynamic. Yeah, look, this trial, I mean, I just thought it showed Manly's juniors are impressive.
Very impressive.
Really impressive.
I thought Weeks, as you mentioned before, he was very impressive. I thought Cooler was unbelievable. Like, I didn't watch it live. I watched it after. And you messaged me about him, and I sort of went, and I watched the game, and it took him forever to get on, but when he did...
Scary,
Is it the fastest 6 steps you've ever seen?
Fuck.
Like, the centre has got him. There's nowhere to go, and then he's 2 metres away from him all of a sudden.
And that's why we were saying, like, with the Trbojevic playing centre, you know, I think that Cooler is really going to put pressure on Harper and Brad Parker this year.
Mate, I was so high on Ben Trbojevic during the week after watching what Cooler did with his 5-minute opportunity. I think Ben Trbojevic is a great bench player for now. Yeah.
And you bring him on, you can bring him on back row, maybe centre or whatever. Whereas a guy like Cooler, for a team that is struggling to take the spotlight away from Tom Trbojevic in attack, you bring Cooler on, all of a sudden teams are like, have to really worry. And also, because Tom Trbojevic has played that roving role so well, Cooler could even roam as well. Kind of play like Joey Manu did for the Roosters. Now, it maybe 10 weeks in or so, but I think it's great signs for Manly that he's really going to be putting pressure on those outside backs. Like, you have a few bad games, Cooler is going to be waiting in the wings.
Ready to go. Yeah.
Waiting in the wings. I thought obviously the winger, Vega, that scored 3 tries, you know, great finisher. That was a great catch that he did and obviously scored. I just thought this was a Manly trial. I think that if you're a Tigers fan, don't be too concerned in the sense that, yes, it is a trial, but at the same time, it wasn't the best night for Tigers fans.
Was it this game last year that the Hello Sports boys always talk about? The standing ovation.
Tigers towed up Manly and they gave us standing ovation.
Good God. Yeah, look, trials aren't the be-all and end-all. I remember watching the Dragons last year get bullied by South Sydney at Dubbo and just thinking, my God, Dragons will be lucky to finish last here.
Yeah.
They just missed the 8 for me. So I'm not a heap to read into. I think the Tigers would have wanted more. They've still got to put Dane Laurie in. They've still got to put Hastings in. You've still got to put Dewey in eventually. You didn't start with Twal. So there are changes to happen there. But, I probably would have expected a little bit more. But in saying that, Manly did put out a pretty damn good side.
Well, the only problem is that the second half. That's my concern.
That's
the first
fair.
half for me doesn't worry me. If anything, if I'm a Tigers fan, focus on that first half. I think the only thing you can take out of that as a Tigers fan is the second half is that you probably have to acknowledge that Tigers' depth right now is not great. Like, if they get a few injuries, it's going to be tough. But if you just want to look at the first half, I would say, you know what, pretty happy with that. Yes, they got a try scored at the end, but we have to remember this is a Manly side that was a top 4 side.
Yep.
The biggest negative takeaway for me with the Tigers would just be like, just a little bit concerned about their depth. But in saying that, last year the Roosters reserve grade team got absolutely annihilated, and then their depth was some of the best in the NRL because every player stepped up and did a job. But I was just really surprised at Manly's reserve grade. I just thought, wow, like, I don't know, they seem to have. It looked like they'd all played together before.
Yep. Another probably just worrying thing with me about the Tigers without putting the foot in, and it doesn't overly surprise me, I thought Peach looked a little bit lost.
Yeah, I think it'll take time for Peach to settle in there.
Is Madge the sort of guy that gives time, though? That's my worry. Yeah. I think I love Peach. I want him to be successful. I'm not sure if he's in the right system, but I think that'll be an interesting one.
I thought Madden had some good moments.
He can play Madden.
Yeah.
He's a good little player.
Because he's normally a 7, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I thought he had some good moments. So, look, not the be-all and end-all for Tigers fans at all. First half, really good. Second half, their reserve grade just struggled a little bit. Manly, on the other hand, fantastic trial. I think you'd be really, really happy with that, seeing your reserve grades come on and play the way they did. Now, Storm versus Warriors. Storm defeated by the Warriors 30 to 18, but I'd probably say that the Warriors side was more stacked with NRL players.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, I think for the entirety of the game anyway.
Yeah.
No, you could probably argue they were just more stacked. I mean, I think that's essentially their starting forward pack, except Egan and probably Lodge, but Aitken, Eli Katoa, Josh Curran as well, to be fair. But
Bailey Sirenen's played in a role. Katoa's played in a role. Aitken has. I mean, their whole starting side has played in a role.
yeah. And I mean, you look at the Melbourne pack, they ran with Wishart at 9 to start, Josh King, Chris Lewis. The two second rowers are both good players. But
Trent Leoro
see
impressed
that
me.
Pilly through?
Yeah, it's incredible. I can't believe the commentators didn't pick that up.
Yeah, fuck, it was ball of the weekend. No one spoke about it.
And no one, I was like, that was incredible from the back rower. And it was, basically just a touchdown for the Codes. I will say one thing that I am a bit worried about for Storm from a playing perspective is their forward pack doesn't look as big as it used to be. Now, maybe the Warriors forward pack is just fucking massive.
Came up against a big forward, to be fair, but yeah.
It doesn't... we have to wait to see their full-strength side, obviously. But, yeah, they just didn't have the same size as they usually have in the middle. That's what it seemed to me. But when they got in their flow, they were incredible, the Storm.
But in saying that, you are missing Kafusi, you're missing Nelson, you're missing Jesse Bromwich. So there is a bit of size to go back into that side. But I agree with you. I did look a little bit smaller than what we're used to.
So you think they'll start Nelson this year with Bromwich?
No, I think they'll have him on the bench, sorry, but he'll come back into the side, I mean.
So if Kamika gets off, they bring on Kamika to start? Who do you think is the starting front row?
It'll be Welsh and Bromwich.
Yep.
And then I think you'll have Nelson on the bench. And then I think that next spot will be filled with one of Josh King, Tepai Marawa. I thought Josh King was good the other day.
Yeah, solid.
I still think Tepai Marawa is the one that's got the upside, whether we see it or not. I don't know. I think our boy... Jack Howarth, I think he's a good chance to get on that bench too.
Yeah, I think he's a good chance. Trent Leoro was good as well.
Yeah. I mean, you still got I don't think he played on the weekend. Tommy Eisenhuth, who's done well for them over the years.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll be in and around that side. As much as they are losing a bit of size, they're also gaining Brandon Smith as a 13.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. Yeah, you're right. The starting pack does have the size required. Absolutely. I just thought that side they put out just didn't look as big as the Kiwi side. But again, it's just trials. The Warriors side, I tell you what, I know they were playing a less experienced side, but when they got a roll on far out, it was just Arden Fanor-Blake, Matt Lodge, and then Bunty Afoa. Impressive.
Mate, AFB looks like he could be the front row of the year at the moment.
He's looking real good.
He looked incredible. Just before we do get off Melbourne, Munster had some really nice touches there.
Yeah, he looks good.
It got me excited.
Yeah, he looks focused. I think we're in for a massive
Even the amount of times he'd dump off to his back row and he'd run down the street. He wouldn't always get the ball, but he just looked like he was moving so much easier than what I've seen him in years.
He looks athletically better than I've ever seen him.
He looks like back when he was playing fullback.
Yep,
and he was just like a chook with its head cut off going everywhere. So, yeah, I'm excited for money. But, yeah, the Warriors thought they were great. A kid that I've always been a huge fan of is Rocco Berry.
Yep.
He can play left or right. He can do both sides. I thought he was really nice. Some catch and pass that he did there. I think it was Marcelo Montoya who scored, was it 2 tries? 2 tries. He was unlucky not to score a third.
I thought Reece Walsh showed his class again.
Yeah.
He was different. Great. I think that he put to bed any concern about... I mean, we haven't seen the season start, but he put to bed any concern that, he just had just a good year last year, and I think he showed that we're dealing with a top-tier fullback here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nikorima. Did he win the 6 jersey there? I thought he was impressive.
Yeah, I think he won it.
Yeah.
I think he won it. I think you'd be crazy not to put him there. I think he's showed two games now where he's led his team around the park, made all the right decisions. Ash Taylor, I didn't really see that much from Ash.
Yeah, I'd say it was disappointing from Ash, but I think that's because I was hoping for so much. I want him to be so successful. Yeah, I'll say this. I think that if Sean Johnson played the game that Ash Taylor played, we probably wouldn't say anything about it.
Oh, for sure.
But
I just didn't. I think if you're Ash Taylor, you want him to stand out.
When you're fighting for a jersey, you need to do more than pass mark. Just one guy that impressed me, and he's been a bit off, not off, but he's had a few injuries and stuff that have cost him over the last few years. Ilias, I thought he looked good again. I thought last year he fell off a cliff. I just didn't. I'm excited to see him with Sean Johnson. We know traditionally Sean Johnson, when he's got a good edge back rower, seen what he's done with Britt Nikorima over the last few years. Ilias, I think he's one to keep an eye on at the Warriors. Once Tohu Harris returns, I think Josh Curran will probably shift out to that edge. So I think Ilias has got about 6 weeks to show, or 6 to 8 weeks to show what he can do. And I think SJ will be excited to have him just quietly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Montoya was really impressive. You know, he kind of came into the grade, had a lot of raps on him, played some good footy. Last year, he just seemed like a lot of errors in that. I thought he was really good. Big, strong ball runner.
Yeah, I remember at round 1 or round 2 last year, just before the season started, around that mark, I spoke to Peter O'Sullivan. I was asking about Rocco Berry, how he was going, and he said to me that Marcelo Montoya was the most impressive guy in their preseason.
Yeah, wow.
And I sort of went, oh, okay, interesting. I wasn't huge on him at Canterbury. He's got ability, but every time I see him, he seems to be getting better.
Yep.
To his credit.
I mean, he had a real impact on that game.
For sure.
A real impact on that game.
I just said Rocco Berry did really well with catch and pass, but a lot of them, Marcelo Montoya had to finish.
Yeah, for sure.
He did every time.
And some of his coming out of trouble sets runs were really good. He's
very
a
good.
big boy. Look, I think if you're a Warriors fan, you've got to be happy with that. Storm fan, obviously absolutely nothing to worry about. I think if anything, Storm fans, be excited that Munster looks so keen to get on the field. So keen.
We've spoken about him a little bit as too, but for the Warriors as well, he only helped his cause for me, Aaron Penne.
Yeah,
I was impressed with
he
him.
was solid.
Yeah.
Again, that forward pack really impressed me. Like they looked really strong. They looked like they were working together. That Warriors forward pack is really coming together. It's really coming together. It's going to be interesting to see how they go, for sure. Anyone else that impressed you? I thought Holworth, had some good, solid hits in defence. There were a few reads. He was outside Jaden Nikorima, and both of them obviously hadn't played, footy for quite or haven't played footy together at all. So I think that hurt them a little bit, like reading defence together.
Yep.
But the physical side of things, I thought Holworth handled himself pretty well.
Yeah, I thought he did well. Whether he's centre or on the bench, I'm not sure how it's going to play out.
I think he's a back rower. And who am I to question the great Craig Bellamy? Clearly a fucking idiot.
I honestly can see a world where he plays right centre and Remus plays right wing.
Yeah, okay.
I can see it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be betting on it. I wouldn't be overly surprised. What about poor old Jaden Nikorima when he saw some space in behind and he kicked on second or third?
Yeah,
and I was just sitting there going, fuck you, poor bastard.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because that's the sort of guy Jaden Nikorima is. He backs himself. He's all chips in. It's not always going to work for him, but I could just see Bellamy sitting up there just going, mate.
Come on.
Nah.
So
you could see it on his face too. He knew as well. He didn't want to look up.
For sure. Yeah, good signs for both teams, for sure. Good signs for both teams. Rabbitohs Cowboys. This is interesting. This is a really interesting game because no one really stood out to me as like, oh, wow, that guy's really, really impressed me. I thought, Gagai's brother was pretty good, Jacob Gagai. I thought he was really good. Pretty good. Selly had some good runs.
I think I've been talking about him for a while. Davey Mawali, I thought he was pretty handy for the age he's at. I'll tell you, the thing that stood out to me in this game is that, and respectfully, Jackson Paulo shouldn't be the automatic left centre for me.
Yeah, I don't know why that's even I think he's a good winger.
I think he's great. He's a sensational winger.
Yeah.
He handed himself in every finals game he played last year. I mean, I watched him play left centre the other night against, the only Cowboys back that has played first grade is Brandon Elliott, and it's his first game back in 2 years or whatever. And I don't know. I expected more from Paulo. In that game. It's only one game. It's a trial. I get it. I understand that. But I don't know why it's so cut and dry that he is going to be the left centre. Doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, it is a bit surprising to me too. I think he's a great winger that has to earn a centre spot if he is to get that centre spot. Look, this was a tough. I think this is more you can judge depth of this game because there really isn't many first graders in either side.
But Yeah, in saying that, surely them selecting this side and selecting Jackson Paula at left centre, it had to be a trial of sorts for him, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think so, for sure. But is Tago injured? Not Tago, Tass injured?
Yeah, well, I was just about to say I wish Tass was in there. I'm not sure why Tass isn't in this side, but I thought Benjamin Lovett, the back rower, he went good too. It was a hard game to stand out in. But
Griffin Neem did some all right, so the
Griffin
angry
Neem,
redhead.
he's the other one that I thought was really good for the Cowboys. I thought their hooker, Josh Chudley, now he's played first grade before, I think.
Has he? Okay.
I think he played a couple of years ago, but I didn't mind him. Just one kid to keep an eye on, 14 for the Rabbitohs. His name is Tallis Duncan.
Yep.
Tallis was playing at the Roosters a couple of years ago in the juniors, and I reckon you've probably seen it at some point. Some of the hits he was putting on was like a maniac.
Yeah, okay.
He's obviously a little bit older now. Everyone's sort of the same size now, but I thought he did well. He's one to keep an eye on. He's got a couple of screws loose, Tallis, so one to watch there. But, yeah, I mean, outside of that, there wasn't really a heap of first graders.
I tell you what I was surprised at is the fact that Peyton didn't put together his first grade side. I just think that, they probably need as much footy together as possible.
Did it shock you that much, though?
Well, it did, because you look at Manly and it's like...
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this is what the Cowboys do, though. This is what I don't understand so much of what happens up there.
Yeah.
You're going to have a new spine.
That's what I mean.
You're going to have a winger playing fullback. Why aren't they playing together?
Yeah, I would be getting Townsend and Drinkwater.
Whoever Drinkwater hasn't played with Townsend before.
Yeah, that's why I'm not. It was really surprising to me. I at least have the spine playing together. But honestly, if I'm Cowboys, because of the position they're in right now, I would have actually had at least the first half, the first grade playing together. They would have done training just as hard.
Yeah. I thought the fullback was all right. Tom Chester,
he had a crack.
He was handy.
He kept turning up. But who knows? Maybe Peyton's got a plan in. I mean, he clearly's got a plan in place. But I just thought that if I'm a lower level side, I'm probably putting most of my first grade side in this second trial, just because we need reps. We need to get. We clearly don't gel together. But there are different people do different tactics. People sometimes feel like the start of the season isn't the be all and end all. It's better to peak towards the end. Wayne Bennett's a clear example of that. So interesting, but good for the Cowboys that they won. That's for sure, because it was basically what. Yeah, it was basically reserve grade versus reserve grade.
I think Taff and Lachlan Ilias were named, and they were taken out late.
Yeah, okay.
I was a bit disappointed with that. I was looking forward to seeing Ilias go around. But I think they've got the Charity Shield this week.
Yep.
Saturday, so we'll see.
That's
Ilias.
interesting as well. From a Rabbitohs perspective, I'm putting him in.
Yep.
Ilias is playing nearly 3 trials. I want him playing as much footy as possible. But in saying that, he does have that position locked down. So it's kind of like, what's the point in risking it? Broncos v. the Titans. Now, this was basically equal footing starting. Basically. I'm just trying to think. Outside of Reynolds, but the person that impressed me the most, and it's going to be an obvious one, Kurt Capewell. Fuck, he brought a lot to that edge. Just his energy. We have not had that in so long. I think that, when the Broncos first started struggling, and it was such a shock to everyone. It was like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's been for a couple of years now. We've kind of gotten used to, okay, this is the Broncos now.
This is who they are.
Yeah. And then Capewell comes in and plays the way, we probably used to.
I don't know if it's the best way to describe it, but his edge just looks so much more professional straight away as soon as and this is what we spoke about with him after the grand final last year. He's not going to break 1 million tackles. No. He's not going to have 25 offloads a year, but he's going to be solid as all hell, and he is reliable. And you need that on your edge.
Absolutely.
You can set up an entire edge defensively like Brisbane haven't had in a long time.
Yeah. No, they just looked so much different with him on the side, especially that edge specifically. He just brought energy and a competitiveness that we kind of didn't... It didn't seem like we had that will to win at any cost. And this is a trial match. This is Kurt Capewell. He's a place for Queensland.
Can I just add as well, respectfully to the guys around him, Branko Lee, Corey Oates, traditionally not the best defenders.
Yeah.
But you put a good second rower there.
Changes everything.
It all changes.
Absolutely. So I really like what I saw from Capewell. I think all the signs are that he's going to be a great signing, one of the better ones. On the Titans side, I thought Jaden Campbell looked sharp as anything. I thought Tremaine
Spry.
Looks real special. For feed looks special. Isan Masters look good. Greg Marzu look good. Honestly, I think the Titans fan probably got more out of that than Broncos fans. I thought, I was really impressed with the Titans. Tanner Boyd.
Yeah, can we talk about the hooker?
Yeah.
Can we have this conversation,
Are we allowed to, please? Because I think he should start.
Can we get Holbrook on the
He was good.
dog and bone, please? He was great.
He was really, really good. Jared Wallace, I thought, played well for his minutes.
I think that the whole thing with Tanner Boyd is that he came in as a halfback, but he came in as an exceptional running halfback. You need a hooker. I mean, even the little things that Tanner Boyd was doing, the way that he was manipulating the markers, taking his 2 steps, he was just creating space and momentum.
Totally.
Constantly. He looked like he'd been playing hooker for a long time to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he went 70 minutes. He didn't go 50 minutes. He went 70 minutes against pretty much a first-grade side in the Broncos there, the team that they put out. I think he's got to start... They've got to start looking around the room to some extent, I think.
Surely it's a question now.
But why now? It's saying we go back to 2 weeks ago. Why say you're my guy?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't.
Especially when there's not such a gap in form or history, or it's not like one player has earned that 9 jersey no matter what. I really like Tanner Boyd.
And this is with all due respect to Aaron Clark. Hopefully he goes out, he brains us, proves us wrong, and we'll cop it on the chin. But
it's more to do with from a coaching perspective. Why not just leave the door open for both? Because you're going to get the best out of both.
He's not a 200-game vet. I just don't understand that move.
Yeah, it was the same with the Sexton one. Like last year, before Fogarty had even left, the CEO came out and said Sexton is our 7. And it's like, how does that help anyone? Unless you needed to do that to re-sign him, but you already re-signed him. In saying all that, I thought Sexton was good.
Yeah, I thought Sexton was great. I loved seeing him push up next to a front rower.
Yep.
That says a lot to me about Toby Sexton.
Yeah.
And it might not to other people, but if he's not there, no one notices.
For sure.
And he gets away with it. No one cares.
For sure.
He's 19. He's 70 kilos dripping wet, but no, he's pushing up through the middle. I love that about him. So I'm still nervous about them this season, but all signs there the other night were very good. There's no denying
Has
that.
Pereira locked in his wing spot? Surely.
If he hasn't, I'll give it away. I'm not here if Pierre isn't on that team.
His runs and the try that he set up was outrageous. That try he set up was winger's try through and through. What I'm surprised at is the fact that Selwyn Cobbo and Mead is a good specialist winger. Why not put him on the wing and put Selwyn at fullback whilst you're waiting for Tessie to come back?
It makes no sense to me. I can't. I was thinking it the other night as well. It just makes... And Mead played well. He did well. But he's not Selwyn Cobbo.
Selwyn Cobbo can be your fullback for the next 10 years. And also, you have a reason to put him there. He's naturally a fullback more over a winger. Now, you might say, he wants to build a combination with Staggs, but winger-centre combinations are not hard to build. It's just a little bit of timing. That's about it.
And who would be better off getting the reps at fullback, Selwyn Cobbo or David Mead in his 13th year of first grade?
Who are you building the club around? Selwyn Cobbo. I just don't get it. So this would probably be my starting back line. It would be Selwyn at fullback, Oates on one wing, Pereira on the other, Staggs and Herbie. Then it would be Walters.
Is Herbie injured or is he just rested?
I think he's rested.
Yeah.
But he's earned it. I thought I would have seen it. If I saw Katoni, I thought I would have seen Herbie. But I think Katoni's more just getting the reps in his legs because he hasn't played much footy.
What about when he got an inch of space?
Oh, bro. He's a scary prospect, man. Scary prospect. My halves would be Reynolds, Walters.
Yep.
My starting front row would be Haas, Carrigan. 11, obviously, Capewell. The edge is interesting because you got Rabadi, you got Ricky, you got Pecora. So I'm unsure on that other 12 position.
I think Ricky.
You think Ricky? I thought Kobe Hetherington was fucking amazing. He played so good.
Yeah,
so good. I'm such a fan of him. Now, some people have Carrigan as a 13. And Carrigan does look to have lost a little bit of weight, but I think he's a great front rower.
Yeah.
I think he's a great front rower, and Hetherington is so good. We need him on there for 80 minutes.
I think Carrigan and Flegler can kind of lose their way when you take them out of that. Just go forward.
Yeah, for sure.
You've said it to me a few times, and I've probably noticed
Carrigan,
it more and more.
Carrigan especially because he gets through so much work, and sometimes when you put him at 13, he's not fresh to be doing the ball playing, and he's a bigger body. I think Carrigan is a premier front rower, so much so that if you put him in front row, he could probably win a Queensland spot off the bench in front row. So going to be interesting to see what they do there. He did come off the bench this game.
Tell you who I've been really impressed by. I was impressed by him last week, and it was a trial. Titans this week, mate, Corey Jensen. I don't know if he's going to be in your 17.
He was solid. He was definitely,
Mate, if he's your 18th man and you bring him in as a forward, I think he's been really impressed. Once again, he's not paying halves.
Yeah.
You're not going to get tackle breaks, line breaks, offloads, but you're going to get a tough footballer there who's going to do a job for you.
Totally agree. And so for 14, I'd have Corey Pakes. You know, I wasn't that high on him before these trials. I just thought that I don't see him as an 80-minute hooker.
Yep.
But after watching his last two trials, I still don't see him as 80-minute hooker, but I do think he's a high-quality, explosive player that has played well enough to fight his way onto that 14 role.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, I couldn't see a world where I didn't have Tyson Gamble in my 17 somewhere. But I personally think he's played his way out of it to some extent.
Yeah.
It's obviously combined with the fact that Pakes and Walters have done so well.
Yeah.
Doesn't help his case.
It was a tough night for Gamble. That doesn't mean that he's not going to come back and play fantastic footy.
Oh, mate, it could mean he comes back and plays better footy.
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of bloke, absolutely, he's that sort of bloke. Like, if you said to me by the end of the year, Gamble has fought his way back in that 6 role, wouldn't be surprised at all. But yeah, I would probably have Walters there. And that's coming from a bloke that thought that it probably didn't look, the optics of it wouldn't be that great.
Yeah.
But I just think he's been good.
Tell you what, that'll be one Queensland Cup game I'll be watching, Gamble round.
Oh, he'll kill it. He'll brain it. Gamble, as you said, he's the kind of guy that passion, if it's just out a little bit, it can really affect him.
Yeah.
But if it's in, he can lift the whole team.
And that's the other thing I love about Gamble is that he can make 10 mistakes and he's not afraid to make the 11.
Yeah, for sure.
He will just keep going and going and going.
Absolutely. Now, look, if they decided to put Gamble on the bench instead of Corey Pakes, wouldn't argue that much against it, because he would bring on a lot of energy and fight and will. So yeah, I'd probably have Corey there for now, but wouldn't be against Gamble or even Kelly Bean in that 14 role. For the Titans, Greg Marsu's he's a beast.
He's a big bit of gear.
He is a beast. I'm just so impressed by the Titans' depth, man, because like Spry,
yeah.
Fafita, Masters, and even Greg, to an extent, you could argue may not get a starting spot. I think Greg will, but do you know what I mean? Like, for example,
but I also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. You still got to fit Corey Thompson in there.
Yep.
You got to fit Brian Kelly. You got to fit Patrick Herbert.
Yeah, who's the other wing?
Well, it could be Isan. It could be Greg.
I think Greg will get that other spot.
Don's gone. Yeah.
But Spry, like, they've got a lot of depth there now. The Titans, they didn't have this kind of depth.
Yeah.
A few years ago, whereas like Spry Spry played fantastic. For Feeder to be able to contain Stags even to a little bit. I know he let one try in, but there were other times where a lot of one-on-one tackles against Stags. Spry like outran Cobbo, and he's big. Spry is. So look, I really like what I see at the Titans. They're put it this way, they're travelling better than I thought they would be travelling.
Yeah, they are travelling well. I just, My worry has always been the grind of 26 weeks.
Sure.
That's going to be the worry on young heads.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Yeah, a good start will do wonders for them.
Campbell, how sharp is Campbell?
Just a natural, isn't he? He just, everything he does.
Who did he step and
he just still hasn't worked out where he is.
Holy shit, he is electric.
It's one of the better natural left foot steps I've seen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Without a big jump in the air.
It comes out of nowhere.
Go back. Yeah, gone.
Just boom, and you don't even know what's happened. He's
that one was special, though, that one.
Far out. Outside of that, that try-saving tackle from, what was his name? Oh, the fullback. Oh, I thought Shallan Fuller, when he came on, was really good.
Yeah, he's got something about him.
There is something about him. He reminds me of like a bit of a smaller Dean Witters.
Yeah, he's like a small. Yeah,
just that real smooth ball playing.
He comes from a little town in North New South Wales called Kyogle, and they've just got a tendency to produce these sort of guys. I'm not sure if you remember a few years ago, Shannon Walker. He burst on
Shannon Walker. He was
from
gun.
The same town. Yeah, and had all the ability. In
crazy
the world.
Crazy ability.
Incredible. Just never quite found his way. If you type in Shannon Walker, there's
Go
footage
watch
of him
his
in a
highlights.
Queensland Cup grand final.
Yeah.
he goes the length, and from the 40-metre line, he's celebrating. He was just...
Shannon Walker was something special.
He was unbelievable. I think he went to sevens for a bit. I'm not sure
yeah,
what
he
happened
went to sevens for a bit.
Yeah.
It was just a week in, week out grind, I think, that he just never be able to... Because he should have played heaps NRL. Like, he's almost like a Preston Campbell-ish kind of player. He's so good.
And then once you're done with those highlights, type in Shallon Fuller and have a look at
Shallon Fuller. Well, he did a lot with Ezra Mam, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Same side, and... Yeah, very, very impressive, the stuff he's doing.
Apologies if I get this wrong, but it was Tane Tuapiki, the headgear guy that came on that try saver.
Solid, yeah.
That try saver was outrageous. Yeah, so good signs. I think Fuller is going to be a great backup and long-term, if he comes in and plays maybe even 14. There was just something about the way he moved, his ball playing. Yeah. I think he got a repeat set. I did like... I know you tipped me onto him. I did like him. Who else? Tony Francis won the haircut of the day with that 2 ratties. Absolutely beautiful. Loved it. Yeah, good signs.
What about poor old... he was wearing the 1, I think, De Groot that came on. Set up a try with that kick. He almost missed his foot, the poor bastard.
Oh, yeah, De Groot with a headgear. Far out, man. So, look, I think good signs for both clubs. I'm just like, I'm biased, but when I look at the Broncos, like when you bring in Payne Haas, Reynolds, Carrigan, it's starting to look like a pretty solid full.
And I just love the way that with Walters, they've got a bit more direction, and you saw Staggs and Cobbo just get clean ball.
Yeah, for sure.
They got, I think there was 5 occasions the first half they got clean ball, and Selwyn scored once, Katoni scored the other time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just surprised. Like, Selwyn should be at fullback. He should be at fullback. Like, why isn't he? That's what he plays in the Q Cup. Killed it in the grand final. Put him at fullback. Put Oates on the wing. Put Pereira on the other wing. Anyway.
Have they got a trial? Because they've already had 2. Are they having any more, Brisbane?
I think they have another one.
One more?
Yeah. We always used to do 3 trials.
Yeah.
Now, on to Sharkies versus Panthers. Now, the quality of the game was not the best. It was an absolute bludger. But, as we discussed earlier, the Panthers' depth is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty damn impressive across all positions. Mate, I've got a little asterisk next to guys that impressed me. I've got a fair whack on this Penrith side. I thought Tago...
Yeah,
he was
Tago's
exactly what I expected.
He's an NRL player.
Yeah, he's ready and raring to go.
Lock him in.
Thought the guy outside him, I think it's Turava. I thought he was impressive as well. He did some really good things. The halves were good. Sullivan. Falls is the guy I spoke about.
What a luxury for the Panthers to have these 2 blokes sitting in reserve grade.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Falls was really good. Really good. Sean O'Sullivan did his job.
Yeah. I said a few weeks ago, Falls reminds me a lot of Mitchell Pearce. He's not high end, but he's got a good kicking game, and he just does what needs to be done. And I think it's so underrated in rugby league just to have a half that doesn't have brain explosions and just gets you to where you need to be. And I really like him for that. And he's 25, 26, so he's seen a lot of footy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, it wouldn't surprise me if he never plays first grade.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the NRL sometimes, but he can definitely play.
There's clubs that could use a guy like Falls.
So
how old is he?
He's 25, 26. Kurt Falls, Matty. He's not young.
I just got to bring it up before I forget. Jermaine Hopgood's kick was one of the worst. Was it Hopgood or was it Salmon?
No, I think it was Hopgood. I like Jermaine Hopgood. I think he's a good little player.
He played mad. Yeah. He played mad. His kick was absolutely disgusting. That was one of the most disgusting kicks I've ever seen in my life. It honestly went 30 metres over, and it was like he kicked it 5 metres out as a chip. But he actually was one of the better players on the field. And like to have him as backup for Isaiah Yeo.
Yeah. Very handy to have.
He was really, really good.
I thought it was interesting. Jamin Salmon, now he's come through with Parramatta.
Apologies if it was Salmon that kicked it.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, if it was, whoever kicked it, disgusting. Don't ever do that again.
But I thought it was interesting to see him pop up in the back row.
Yep.
He's always been a half, 5'8", potentially fullback over the last few years.
See, when he played at Para, I didn't mind him.
Yeah, I thought he was handy too.
Yeah,
I thought when
they
he
let him
first
go.
came, he was going to be something special. But, I mean, if he can reinvent himself as a second rower with a bit of upside, definitely a good commodity to have in rugby league. We've already spoken about
Mitch Kenny continues
Mavrik.
to just do his job.
Yeah, just does his job week in, week out.
I think, like, Mitch Kenny is such a solid buy for Panthers, kind of like the Dylan Edwards for them.
Yeah.
Not breaking the bank, but boy, do they do their job. Like, get through a bit of work.
I was talking to, the bloke I said to you the other week that I think will be the next 9, Riley Smith.
Yeah.
Did you get a message from him?
No, Riley Smith, is it?
Yeah, right. He messaged me the other day. He goes, thanks for the shout out, blah, blah, blah. He said, I text in and just see if he wants to go down to the Nets. I'm keen. But he has chosen rugby league, which is a good thing. So rugby league over cricket. So, but yeah, I think Mitch Kenny, he's just solid. Jeez, he seems like such a good bloke, Mitch Kenny.
Yeah, he
seems
does.
like a funny bastard.
Absolutely. Who else was pretty good? I mean, if I'm a Sharks fan, I wouldn't like they. It was just such a messy game, and then Trindle got sent off. Talakai had some good runs. I thought Ueli's initial 20 was really good. Jaden Beryl started off really well. I thought his first 20 was really good. I wouldn't read too much into it. If I'm a Sharks fan.
I love him, and I would never bag him because I think he's a great footballer. But Talakai should be the best forward on this field by a country mile.
He's a beast.
He's just got so much potential. He just can't seem to put it all together for an extended period. I honestly think that he could be one of the better forwards in rugby league.
Yeah, I can see it. I can absolutely see it.
He's
a
got
beast.
so much potential. It's not even funny. It's just, if you put the consistency of Ty Wilton with the skill set of Sifa Talakai, it's over.
Yep.
Like, he could be anything Sifa.
So where I know that you were a bit hesitant when I said Nicho Hynes plays 7 for the Sharks. Where do you stand now with the fact that
it's coming around on me?
Yeah.
If you're not going to have Trindle at 7, you can't have Moylan at 7.
Trindle most likely suspended.
Trindle is facing 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. Let's just get this out of the way we're not trying to rag on anything and be too negative. But this whole head high thing coming back in, as a fan, and I understand we're trying to protect the head. Where is Trindle supposed to go when the guy falls into his shoulder like that? What is he supposed to step away from the tackle? There was no swinging arm. It was an aggressive tackle. This is rugby league. Now, I can understand if you want to put him on report and maybe he gets a week or whatever, but to send him for 10, as a game, we are no clearer as to what the head high tackle rule is. What were your thoughts, Guru?
No.
Am I crazy or what?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's just a shocking way to go about it, I think. And I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you, but mate, if this is happening in week 6, I'll give it away. I guarantee you we're sitting here in week 5 and players are getting away with this. This is what they always do. They come hot and heavy. We're going to do this. They do it for 5 weeks. They get a little bit of pushback, then they ease off, and we'll find something else.
Haven't we seen this song and dance though?
No, mate.
Round 10, Magic Round or whatever it was. Is it round 10 Magic Round?
Yeah.
We saw this song and dance. And it's impossible. It will ruin the game because
we saw it for a month. It ruined the game. Then they backtracked on it.
Absolutely.
Now they're going to bring it back again.
What I'm not understanding. Like, if their planning is this, we're going to go hard in the trials so that players, try not to hit head high, even though they're never trying to. Then what's going to happen is round 1, like I said before the show, round 1, a team's going to be playing the Sharks. One of the Sharks players is going to get head high. The player's not going to get sent for 10. He's not going to get put on report, and the Sharks are going to be sitting there going, we just lost our key playmaker. It's his first year at a fair crack at the 7 role or a 6 role, and he may have lost that opportunity. Like, someone might come in and play really well all over a head high that there was no swinging arm. The guy clearly fell into the tackle. I understand most of the responsibility is on the defender to not hit the head. But there has to be some responsibility on the attacker to not fall into tackles. I know that just like the defender didn't mean to hit him in the head, I understand the attacker didn't mean to fall into his shoulder. But there has to be some give here, because otherwise, they're at head highs constantly. If you want to go by this rule, every week there's going to be people sent off, multiple people every game. I just don't understand it. And fair, I got a lot of respect for the Fox League analysts or commentators when they said, you could tell that they were frustrated and they were like, look, we're not going to get into it. It's just trials. And so we won't spend too much time on it. But I just want to point it out, like, have we not done this song and dance?
Yeah. And I know we can't. What is he meant to do? What are you meant to do in that situation? Are you meant to let 120 kilo athletes fall into your knees? Your season's over.
You meant to,
you meant to let
jump
them go.
away.
What do you? I can't even.
He's in the tackling motion.
Yeah.
You can see it happening. The guy falls into it. If the guy doesn't fall, he hits his chest and it's nothing play. Who was the other guy that got sent off? Where I was like, yeah, okay, I can see that. I think it was was it the same game? Got 10%?
No, was it the Dragons? Who was the winger for the Dragons?
It was a big shot.
Wasn't it Tau Moga? Was that the one you texted me about?
Tau Monga?
I'm not sure. There was another one, and the guy, he was wrapped up and his shoulder went directly into his head. I'm like, you know what? With that one, fair enough, because the guy wasn't falling and the player was already wrapped up. But the ones where the player is falling, I just don't understand that. Like, unless it's a swinging arm, I don't understand it.
Yeah, and I feel like now, to some extent, I knew on the weekend which ones were going to get 10 in the bin, but I thought they were ridiculous. I would almost rather it be a little bit more lenient and then apply some common sense.
Yeah.
I don't. It's going to be a hard sport.
I just
to
don't get it,
watch.
because like rugby league will never be able to be played without contact to the head, because the only way that we're going to get rid of contact to the head is if you stop players being allowed to offload, because that you have to hit around here, and when you're moving so fast, like anyway, we've been through this a million times.
Well, if you go back to that Titans game, there's a tackle that Albert Kelly makes where he just dives straight at the legs. 25 years ago would have been a great tackle.
Yeah.
But players just toss the ball in the air and someone will be there to
100%.
take it, and they run 70 metres. You can't tackle at the legs anymore.
You can't, because you're not rewarded for it.
Oh, mate, I had John Sutton come down to my under-16 team last year, and he said, what do you want to do? I said, can you do some defence with him? He went, yeah, sweet. And he got them all, and he said, who's your best defender? And I said, this kid, come here. He tackled one of the other kids, round the legs, perfect. And Sutton said, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Never do that again. And I was just standing there going, that is what I was taught from age 6 to 15. He said, you're better off missing the tackle.
Absolutely, and just chasing him and then grabbing him from behind or something. And he's totally right. You go around the legs, you're not rewarded for it.
Yeah, he's like, the first person has to wrap the ball up.
Absolutely.
Where's the ball? It's 2 inches from your shoulder, from your chin.
So
it's
look, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't become an issue, because I thought we'd found a good middle ground. And what's interesting is that I feel like a lot of the knockouts are actually coming from players trying to go low.
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument.
I feel like a lot of the knockouts are going low. The players are so big and powerful now that it's those like low bumps and they get hit under there and they just go bomb straight out. I don't have any science to back that up or facts.
But it's also the reality in that situation where the game is fast now. The attacking team gets momentum. The defenders are getting back quicker. They're coming up. They're out of position more often.
Yeah.
It just... this rule would have been hard to officiate 20 years ago when the game was 10 times slower.
Yeah,
now,
it's even harder.
How on earth are guys meant to deal with?
Yeah. And we'll talk quickly about Fuimaono getting 5 weeks. If he challenged at 7 weeks, this is a tough one for me, because I don't feel like he intentionally hip drop. I thought it was a subconscious technique that he has learned over the years. He's fatigued, because it's not like he had him held up and then he hip dropped him. It was all in one motion of swinging around him. Now, the only way Fuimaono can probably get out of that is if he let go of the tackle. But I understand where the NRL is coming from this, because now Haze Dunster misses a whole year.
Yeah, I get it. I feel for Tyrell, but I think this one is what it is, unfortunately. Yeah. It's a tough one. It's brutal. Thankfully, it doesn't happen all that often, and hopefully because of this, it'll happen less. I do feel sorry for him, but...
Because hip drop is a technique. You know, it's not like when you accidentally hit someone in the head where, you know, you're just going into a tackle and you miss a margin by 5 to 10 metres. Hip drop has been a technique that's been taught by wrestling coaches. So I don't believe Fuimaono did it intentionally. I thought it was like, you're under fatigue, subconscious, you went to wrap the ball up and just pulled down like that. So 5 weeks definitely seems a bit harsh, but at the same time, I can understand it, because Haze now misses the whole season.
Yeah.
And that kind of technique, I'm okay. Like, if Fuimaono has to literally just let go of the tackle, I'm okay with that. Because it's like, if you can't tackle him without using that technique, then just don't tackle him.
Then he'll get dropped for 5 weeks.
Yeah,
that's what
I
makes
get
it
it
hard.
Yeah, I get it, but it's just when it's a specific technique to bend the knee like that, it's just I just want it gone from the game. Like, what do you got there, Matt?
I think Fuimaono got suspended for a hip drop 2 years ago, which
Yeah,
probably
he was.
contributed.
Yeah, okay.
Was it Magic Round as well?
That was when he got
That was
Pappenhausen.
got Pappenhausen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the hip drop is something that I just want out of the game.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a technique that it shouldn't be there. It's dangerous as fuck. No matter how safely you do it, it's dangerous because it's bent to your anchorage in your knees. Like it's meant to do that. So although from a Dragons perspective, I can feel for Tyrell as well. Like I don't think that it was planned or malicious, but at the same time, I just want it gone from the game. Like same with the grapple tackles, the chicken wings. I just want it gone.
Yeah,
like, I just want it gone. So yeah, that's a tough one because you can see both arguments. It's like it happened all at once. So how is he supposed to pull out of that outside of letting go of the whole tackle?
Letting go, yeah.
But yeah, so back to the Penrith Sharks. Look, you can be a little bit concerned as a Sharks fan. Getting beaten 34-6 is not a good thing. But when you actually look at their squad and how many players were left out that will be a part of it, the only concern was similar-ish to the Tigers of Sharks' depth probably isn't the best right now, whereas Panthers' depth is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I also I look at the Sharks and whenever I try and make a forward pack, I can't fit Aiden Tolman and Andrew Fafita in it.
Yeah,
they have got depth. They just weren't playing in this game.
That's true. Good point. That's a good point.
I mean,
but they still got Talakai. They got Brandon Hueli, Royce Hunt. Like they're all.
Yeah. But I mean, you have a look at the back line. Not a single one of those guys will play first grade. Outside of Trindle. I would argue that Trindle didn't have his greatest game.
Yep.
And then you have a look at their bench. I mean, outside of Franklin Pele, Jack Martin, no guys really that are.
I mean,
they're all guys that you'll see at Newtown training every week.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Mate, they're coming up against Penrith, who we've seen Mavrik Geyer just turned an opportunity with the Melbourne system because the Penrith system is bloody good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Do you think it's just more evidence of how good Penrith is, Penrith's depth is, rather than Sharks? Reflection of their
this
depth.
doesn't reflect much for the Sharks,
okay.
to be honest with
you.
So
don't take much out of it as a Sharks fan?
I'm taking nothing out of it as a Sharks fan.
Eels versus Dragons, an absolute nail-biter, 26-22 to the Dragons. I really liked Haze Perham. I thought he was really explosive. That double drop that he did for Sean Lane was fucking amazing.
Sean Lane.
He had one of the games of his career.
Duck, unbelievable.
He was killing it. He was captain as well. Far out.
There was one where he threw a try assist and he just sort of wandered, like he knew he was having a good game too. He was enjoying himself. I love it.
Everything he touched was turning to goals. It was amazing.
There was one that he went through when he had guys on his left and right. I thought he bombed it.
Yeah.
And then he just laid on the try on the next play anyway. He was taking the piss.
That's the thing with Sean Lane is like, if you actually watch Sean Lane, he does some really good work. Really good work. He's almost deceptively strong because he's so tall.
Yeah.
It's just, one or two errors in his game that really hurt him.
He can have a brain lapse.
And so outside of that, though, like when he's on, he's quality. I thought Jake Arthur had a stellar game.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I miss... What did you watch the game, Matty?
I've only seen the highlights for that game.
Yeah, of course you did. I just thought he had a really good game. Now, I missed maybe 10 or so minutes all up of the game, but he just looks silky. He looks smooth. I just think they're I'm not saying that I don't feel that he'll put pressure on anyone this year, but I do believe his development is coming along quite well. Like when I compare to how he played last year when he made his debut, he seemed like a more mature player on the weekend.
Yeah, he might have to dye his hair if he wants to play 5'8".
Well, he just doesn't have the cool factor.
Not cool enough.
He's not cool enough, and we know Brad Arthur would rather pick a cool guy over his son.
Yeah, he's a joggers and jeans sort of guy.
I thought Kaufusi was good.
Nikorima I thought was really strong, as per usual. I think he'll be a really good signing for the Warriors.
Oh, I think it'll be a great signing. Signing. I didn't really see much of Will Penasini. Maybe that was in the
nor did I.
Bits that I missed. For the Dragons, was absolutely befuddled why Sloan didn't start at fullback. I kind of felt that he had done enough to warrant the starting position. In saying that, maybe it's just a rotation thing, like Cody Ramsey starts, but Sloan was always going to get that crack.
It took him 2 or 3 touches to show
how good he is.
that he's a no-brainer at 1.
I think Sloan has cemented his spot at fullback. I think Amon, outside of like 1 error, was amazing. He's special, that kid.
He's got something about
that
him.
try where he steps back inside, puts a grubber in, just to have the wherewithal to know that another guy's inside to score that try, that was Amon, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah, very impressive. I thought, mate, I texted you at about the 30th minute and said, I haven't even noticed that Moses Sully's on the field, and then he got one good bit of clean ball.
Killed
and
it.
just made him look stupid.
Yeah, he's a beast.
I thought Max Viego, there's a try that he scored late in the game. No, that was their first try, sorry. Where he came off his right foot.
Yeah.
He just left 2 or 3 defenders.
He's so sharp.
He is very impressive.
Yeah.
Outside of that, thought Francis Molo was decent, but they just didn't have any ball for the first 25 minutes.
Yep.
So by the time they got the ball, all these forwards were gassed. So it was a
I thought Josh Maguire was pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah. Why?
Why is he playing in the halves, though? Silly. I don't get that. Like, when I know
It's a 26-man squad.
I know, it's bizarre.
How is your front rower the best option to play 7?
It's just so bizarre. I don't understand that decision.
Put Sloan at 6.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't understand that decision. Like a trial is about getting as much reps in as you can for a team to be the best it can for first grade, like for the year. Putting Maguire in the halves is like, what? How does that serve anyone? Even though he ended up playing pretty well.
He played well. He did a job.
But that's where, like, you know, some of Anthony Griffin's decisions sometimes they just befuddle me a little bit. Like, even little things, and maybe he's spoken to Sloan, but like, Sloan's your next superstar, or one of. He played incredibly well at fullback when he got his chance last year. Cody Ramsey did play fullback, but I think he's more of a winger. And so, like, just the messaging to Sloan to be like, well, Ramsey gets the first half. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into it, but I just think that surely if you're Griffin, you're backing Sloan in and you're going, you get to start it. You know what I mean? Like, all those little things.
I don't see Ramsey as a fullback.
I see him as a winger.
I see him as a winger. If you told me Sloan was out injured round 1, I would honestly probably go and buy at fullback.
Yeah, okay.
I really would. I think Ramsey's a solid winger.
Good finishing winger.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It's great to have a good finishing
I'm
winner.
sitting here because of it. Literally. And I thought I was a fullback. I debuted it. So that was it was a bizarre situation for me, because it's like, as a teenager, your ego is so precious as it is. You know what I mean? And so when you don't start, as Sloan, maybe he didn't. Maybe he's much more fucking...
It looked to me like he wore it well.
Yeah.
I will say that. I was impressed. That's what I thought too. Fuck, this could be anything here.
Yeah, well, he could drop his, start kicking stones.
And I would understand. I wouldn't like it if he did, but I could understand it.
As a young
if I was
kid,
Sloan, I wouldn't be stoked.
If I'm Sloan, no matter how I responded to it, I still would be like, bro, I should be starting at fullback. And then, maybe Cody gets a crack after half time. But who knows? Griffin could have sat them down and just said, look, I'm Ramsey, you're starting. Sloan, please don't read into this at all. It's a nothing thing. I just want to give Ramsey a chance to play at fullback. But it's kind of weird because, like, with Sloan, you go, well, wouldn't you put him on the bench then? And then bring him off the bench?
Did he sit the other halves down and go, hey, just going to give Musa a run at 7 here?
Yeah, bit bizarre. But it is what it is. Interested in Moses Mbai starting at 7. I think that probably going to get that 14 role. Bud Sullivan is touch or go for the season start, apparently. I think his ankle is injured.
I mean, It probably looks like Mbai will get it. Well, we've spoken about this for an age. But, no need to repeat ourselves again. But, there was another kid. There's a kid for Parramatta, and I coached him when he was about 15. His name's Luca Moretti. He was jersey 17.
Yep.
Luca is an incredible little footballer. He made Australian Schoolboys League and Union. He's the first guy to do it in a long time. He was at the Roosters for a couple of years. They've now let him go. Just one to keep an eye on because he's got so much ability. I would suggest he might have got a little bit comfortable at the Roosters. This might be a bit of a little wake-up call for him. So one to just keep an eye on. Didn't really stand out for me in that game, to be honest with you. But one to keep an eye on because he has got ability. I'd love to see him kick on. He's a good kid.
Just quickly back to that Sharks game. There was he was either number 23 or 24. He had some really fucking good runs. Some really good runs. A big boy, big tall boy. I don't know if you remember him, but it's 23 or 24, but I just wanted to quickly mention that.
Yeah, right.
with the back to the Eels versus Dragons. Look, solid signs for the Dragons. I know they were behind and they came back from 16-0 down, and maybe that's due to the rotation that the Eels used, but I think both clubs are going to be pretty happy with this.
Yeah, just one other guy to watch too from the Dragons. He was jersey 25. He didn't really get opportunities. Jonathan Rubin.
Yep.
Matty, can you just type Jonathan Rubin Queensland Cup? His strike rate for tries is unbelievable. It's like 106 from 107 games or something out there. He is a very impressive character. He didn't really get any opportunities in that game. He's been playing for the North Devils the last few years.
Bang on, 106 from 107.
Bang.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty
impressive.
Is he the PNG bloke? Or is that a different guy?
No, I'm not sure where he's from, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay.
Says he's from. He was born in Townsville,
Okay.
but
I thought George Burgess had a few strong runs.
Yeah.
Looked strong in contact.
Yeah, he probably looked better than what I anticipated, George Burgess.
Because that's what I was worried about. Does he still have that physical strength that the Burgess brothers are so known for?
Well, yeah. I was talking to the NRL physio about this the other day, and he essentially said that no one has come back from what he did in sport.
Far out.
And so if he manages to pull it together,
that'd be incredible.
Very, very impressive. Probably the last talking point of this game, when Matto did come on, he was playing a bit of 13.
Yeah.
He then got a sim bin. I can't remember if he came back on after that or not,
Yeah.
but he was definitely playing a roaming 13 role. I've heard that Nathan Brown had a surgery that hasn't been talked about too much, and he might miss the first few weeks. So if Matto does play 13, you've spoken about it before.
I wouldn't mind it. Used to be a 6.
Interesting. Yep.
Used to be a 6. One thing, I guess, a bit of a negative, but I was really hoping to see Will Penasini stand out.
Yeah.
Now, as centre, it's very hard to, you're so beholden to inside you, but I was really hoping that we saw Will, just kick on from such a good year last year.
Yeah.
Not to say that he won't, but I was hoping for a bit more impact from Will. I'm sure we'll get it in the year.
Yeah, I mean, even top class centres can have quiet games.
Oh, for sure.
As you said, it's the reality of the position. So, I'm happy to see what. I wonder what they do. Obviously, poor Haze Dunster is injured now. Do you move Wonga Blake out to the wing? Do you keep Opachik? Do you move Perham to the wing? How do you think they'll...
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, apparently they're seeing if Asarko's free. Main Asarko Broncos.
Yeah, right.
So it's going to be interesting. You probably move maybe Wonga Blake. I don't know what he's like under the high ball though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've gone from having too many wings to bloody not enough wings.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I think both sides can be happy. Don't be too stressed at all. Madison at 13 is going to be really, really interesting. But like this is where, like, for example, Andrew McCulloch is playing. That's where I sometimes with other clubs I'm like, bro, if Andrew McCulloch is playing, like, surely you can put your young guy in that needs an extra game.
Yeah,
too.
I will say about McCulloch, I'm pretty sure he had an injury at the end of last season, so they might just be trying to
get reps in.
Yeah, but in saying that, I still would have given Ben Hunt an opportunity with Hamone, but I'm sure they will in the Charity Shield. They'll put it out a good side there. I don't know. It's a hard one with these trials because if he plays Hunt and Hunt gets injured, everyone says, why the hell was he there? Blah, blah, blah. So it's a tough one.
Absolutely. Outside of that, look, the teams-wise, who was the most positive for you out of those trials?
I'd probably have to say Manly. I think Manly. But in saying that, I wasn't overly impressed with the Tigers. They did put out a really good side. I'm probably more excited to see the teams this week. I think you'll see more full strength sort of sides. I thought the Warriors were pretty impressive considering they didn't have Sean Johnson and considering they were playing Melbourne. I mean, that South Cowboys game, I don't think I can take much from that. Titans, Broncos, both conceded 26 points still.
Yep.
So, and the Penrith, Cronulla. Penrith were very impressive, but I also think the Cronulla side was probably the weakest outside of the Cowboys and Bunny side of all the other teams. So, not as you said at the very start, trials, first trial for a lot of these teams, not a heap to read into, but interesting nonetheless. I think this week will be more telling.
For sure. For me, Manly absolutely impressed me the most, and it was the fact that their reserve grade side came on and they just high energy, gelled really well.
They arguably looked better.
Yeah, arguably.
As crazy as that sounds.
As crazy as it sounds. When you've got guys like Kalua coming on and doing what he did, then you've got the winger scoring 3 tries, Vega. You've got Weeks going really well. So Yeah, Manly really impressed me. Probably the clubs where I was, again, and it's just trials, but clubs where I was a bit concerned is obviously the Tigers. Not a bit concerned. I'm really concerned. Outside of that,
imagine being the Tigers centres when the A team walked off and then Cooler came on and you thought, I'll be okay
Yeah,
here.
be all
And then this
good.
kid is just, he might be the most dangerous guy on the field.
yeah,
after
literally.
Turbo.
Look, I was really impressed with Panthers. I was, even though they didn't have their starting side, I was a bit disappointed with Sharks just because they leaked 34 points and their coach is Craig Fitzgibbon. And I understand it's a trial and scores don't matter, but I just think a Craig Fitzgibbon coach side, he's proven he knows how to defend and he knows how to teach defending. So I wouldn't say that they were like disappointing, but I was a bit like, okay. I probably would have thought, if anything, their defense would have been better and their attack would have been a bit, stop-start.
But once again, they scored their first try in the 30th minute. The Panthers, they scored 34 points in the next 50 minutes. This is where, and I always say it, the guy standing behind the goalpost with you is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's Dale or a Cam McInnes,
Yep.
I think they're able to sort of put a halt to that. But, I mean, who's the guy? Hamlin-Uele was the skipper.
Yeah.
That's why it'd be interesting if you put just a Dale Finucane or a Cam McInnes in this team, how different it would have been.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, I wouldn't say it's a negative. It was more just like, oh, okay.
Well, it might be a good opportunity for Fitzy to put a rocket up.
Yep,
a few of
for
these
sure.
packs. It could pay dividends for him.
Again, Roosters got pumped by 60 and then I think they won the comp that year.
Yeah.
And then, Manly got pumped by Tigers by 50 and they went on in top 4.
Yeah, I think Fitzy will make a point of this to the guys that are on there. I mean, you look at that Penrith forward pack, Eddie Blacker, Eisenhuth, Salmon, Smith, Jermaine Hopgood, none of them are going to make Panthers 17 for me.
Yeah.
Eisenhuth might get a bench spot
Yeah.
at best. Whereas Hamlin-Uele, Royce Hunt, Tyg Wilton and
That's what I
Siffer
mean.
all could play. Yeah, you're right. It is a fair point.
It's like, it's not a negative. It's just like,
It's interesting.
interesting. But
Sad to see the hooker get injured too.
yeah,
Jaden Barrow, I thought
absolutely.
he was doing good.
I thought he was doing really good.
Yeah.
I guess one little negative for the Broncos is they were down 26 to like 10 or 12 or something like that, and they fought back late in the end.
Yeah, I think it's sort of forgotten by other people, but I don't think Heavy will be.
No, not at
Feeling
all.
it
But it
anytime
was just,
soon.
it's just like, oh shit! Like
Yeah.
this was our issue, is that we fight in games, and then just before halftime or after halftime, we let in a bunch of points. So I would say that although it's a positive that we fought back to 26 all, it's also a negative that we had that many points put on us in a small period.
And also,
of
I
time.
think that's where Adam Reynolds will be so good because he'll be able to kick you out of trouble, whereas they didn't have that. So
Sure. So what do we got here? We got, we scored 3 tries in the last 15 minutes.
Yep. Including one in the last minute of
Last
a kick
minute.
from a winger.
And so, you're
He's
looking
got
at
a try from dummy half and a kick off the winger.
66 minutes of the game, and they were beating us 26 to, 12 or something, or something along those lines. So that's definitely a concern for the Broncos. And Titans, you would say it's a concern that they leaked 3 tries in the last 15 minutes. But again, not big concerns, but just little things that in the coach's room, in the meeting, it's going to be like, boys, this cannot happen. This
can't happen.
This is not what the club's about. Regardless of whoever's wearing the Broncos jersey or whatever jersey, next man up. The next man up has to do a job. A great weekend of trials. Absolutely loved it. Next week's trials, Friday's Manly versus Raiders. Oh, we'll speak quickly about Doggies Knights. Most people probably won't see this before they watch the Doggies Knights this afternoon.
I think both are pretty much full strength too.
They're rolling out a full strength
I'm pretty
side.
sure they are. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
okay.
two, yeah.
Interesting. I like it. I love it. If you're a team that that needs reps together, I like it. But on that, what a big game for the Knights.
Huge game.
I feel like every game is massive for the Knights because it's a confidence thing for them. If they go out and struggle and the Doggies put whatever on them and they've got the half their NRL side, start looking around going, shit.
Is Matt Burton playing?
I can't wait to see the new look Doggies.
I feel like Burton's not.
Burton isn't playing, nor is Addo Carr, but they do have a good team. Knights are almost full strength.
Yeah, it's
almost.
pretty much full strength.
See, I like that from O'Brien.
Yeah, it's.
I like that. They need as much reps as possible together. I like it.
Who are the halves for Canterbury?
Wakeham and Avarillo.
So Flanagan's not even getting a start there.
Flanagan is playing, but he's in the extended. Fuck. Jersey 24.
Mate, surely.
Yeah, tell me Gus hasn't made up his mind.
Surely maybe Flanagan gets to start next week. That's a big... Whoa. Oh, man. Wow. Fuck. That's like... Wow.
Is kid to watch that we've spoken about him, Paul Alamotti? I think is he on the extended?
No, he's starting at centre.
Oh, how
what
good.
number is he?
Number 4.
Number 4, Canterbury.
Watch him. Yeah, I can't wait for this. Knights, if Knights go out and play really well, it'd be great for their confidence. I love Adam O'Brien putting the squad together and basically going, let's go, boys.
Yep.
You know, because you got the 2 trials, then you got a week off. It's plenty of time to recover. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this match. You know what? It's probably one of my most look forward to matches of the weekend because I'm super keen to see the Doggies' new squad, but I'm also super keen to see a Ponga-led Knights. You know, there's a lot against the Knights right now. Like, their backs are against the wall. If they can come out and play really well, it's going to go...
As much as there's a lot going the way of Canterbury, signings-wise, if they don't produce, they're going to be back on the shit heap very quickly.
Man.
So there's pressure on both these
Pressure on
sides.
both
I'm
sides.
very excited. What time is it, Matty?
7 o'clock.
Can't wait. Monday Night Footy.
How good?
Monday Night Footy. Make sure to follow the great guru, Rugby League Guru, on Instagram, on Facebook. Subscribe to the Rugby League Guru podcast for all the best rugby league news in the entire planet. Also, grab a case of Bloke in a Bar from your local. It's the footy season's back. So Bloke in a Bar season is back, baby. Grab a case of beer. This is the beer of sport. No other beer gives you this much sport content. No other beer loves sport the way we do. You love sport, you support the beer, platform grows, you actually have an impact in changing the sporting landscape in the country. You got anything to say, Gurino?
No, mate, all good.
All good.
All ready to go.
As usual, I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.